Good morning. It is 7 a.m. on Friday, March 28th. Hanny day. ESPN's Andrew Lopez is in for the full show here on Off the Bench. Hunt Palmer going to join us at 7:30 a.m. via the phone line. Jeremy Hill in for the 8 o'clock hour. Big Fave, Ben Mintz, Megan making money, also set to join us here on today's special edition of OTB, hosted by Mario Jerez. Weather today in Baton Rouge, mostly cloudy, 74 degrees. In Alexandria, cloudy and 67. In NOLA, mostly sunny. It's always sunny in New Orleans, 75 degrees. Hour one of Off the Bench starts now.
Let we go!
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
What's up, people? We have made it to the other side of the glass. T-Bob is at a wedding. Hester is at the beach for a couple of more days, but the show must go on, and you guys know that it will. I am Mario Jerez. You may know me as the producer of this fine program. I'm also the Spanish radio play-by-play voice of the LSU football team and the New Orleans Saints. We got Cade Wazan running the board today. Shout out to Cade for getting up early and helping us out today. Of course, Danny Cardenas is getting us on YouTube and on television. And to my left, my man Andrew Lopez, who also made the effort this morning to get up and come join us, help me to co-host. What's up, Andrew?
Nothing much, man. I don't remember the last time I saw sunrise because I was waking up. I'm pretty sure I usually see those going to bed. I feel like that's the last time I did that. Also, I like to point this out. I feel like this is a significant downgrade in terms of actual athleticism, going from T-Bob and Hester to me and you.
I don't know, man. It depends on the sport, I think. I never seen.
You might be able to do anything. Like, I don't.
Especially basketball, right?
I'm done, dude. I'm done.
Come on.
I'm long gone.
Then they need to give me your spot in the Pelicans media game because I'm still waiting to get on the court for that one.
I've never made it to a Pelicans media game.
Really?
So the first and only one that they had was the year before I joined. My first year, we didn't do one for some reason because we kept trying to. We were supposed to get like a sponsor, like Coke was going to sponsor it or something.
That's doing way too much.
We never. It was going to be this big thing, and then my second year on the beat was, interrupted by COVID. We didn't do it that year, and then this year, obviously, we couldn't even sniff the practice facility. So,
well, it's all good. I heard Caroline Gonzalez was dominating everybody out there anyway.
Yeah. Shout out Loyola. There we go. Me and Danny, Caroline, all from the great University of Loyola.
There you go. Obviously, Andrew covers the Pelicans for ESPN, so we'll talk a lot of basketball today, a lot of Pelicans. Very important offseason after a disappointing season for the New Orleans Pelicans, and also a packed show today for the rest of the lineup. Of course, we'll talk hoops with Andrew, as mentioned. Hunt Palmer will call in at 7:30. He's usually in studio, but he's going to call in today at 7:30. We're going to talk a little bit of LSU baseball. Jeremy Hill, former LSU running back, former NFL running back, in studio at 8. We're going to talk some NFL. Joe Burrow back on the practice field. Cincinnati Bengals players are really excited about that one. It's funny, Andrew. A lot of Bengals fans, players, and coaches talk about Burrow the same way Pelicans people talk about Zion. Like he's the prized possession. We can't mess this one up.
I'll tell you what. Look, not only I remember looking at those clips the other day, seeing Joe Burrow, but also seeing Jamar Chase wearing number 1. Like it's going to take time for me to get used to NFL players wearing like college-like numbers like that.
Yeah,
I like it. I like Jamar being able to wear that, or Queen being able to go to number 6 with the Ravens. I know he can't get number 8 from Lamar. That's probably what he wanted, but I don't think that one's gonna. I think that was gonna cost him a lot of money. But it's gonna take a while to get used to. But I'm kind of want to see it.
Yeah, that and the odd number of games in the season too. We'll ask.
I'm not ready for like a team not to be 8-8. Like 9-8, 8-9. Like I'm not ready for.
I've messed up so many record predictions for that reason. But we'll ask Jeremy, get the player's point of view from all that stuff. The jersey change, the numbers, the crowds back in the stadiums. We'll definitely touch on that. So packed show today. But first, we have certain obligations, including this segment. So it's time for some headlines brought to you by Barbecue Guys.
OTB headlines are brought to you by Barbecue Guys. They're your one-stop shop for everything outdoor kitchens and living. Barbecue Guys, helping America host better barbecues since 1998.
LSU Softball, 2 wins away from the Women's College World Series. They remain 2 wins away because they fell in Game 1 of the Baton Rouge Super Regional to Florida State 1-0 last night. The Tigers had to fight off elimination against the Seminoles tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPN2. Once again, in Tiger Park, LSU needs to win the remaining 2 games of the Super Regional to advance to the Women's College World Series. But there is good news for Baton and the girls. The Tigers have made it to the Women's College World Series under the current format 3 out of 4 times after losing that opening game. So under head coach Baton, the Tigers have done really well in elimination game situations. They are 16-4 during the regional and super regional rounds.
That's kind of good.
Yeah, really good.
That's really good.
And watching
that is my contribution to the softball conversation.
And my last contribution to it will be watching the softball team from afar. Coach Arena's put some really, really good teams together. Obviously, they're consistently fighting for a berth in the Women's College World Series. Would be really nice to see if they can make a deep run and potentially go all the way this year. But that got off to a slow start last night as they lose to Florida State 1-0. Moving over to the men on the diamond, SEC tournament last night, the Fighting Scott Kushners defeat the Fighting Rivers Hueys. Tennessee defeats Mississippi State 12-2. The second-seeded Volunteers jumped out to a 4-0 lead in the second inning, never looked back. It's their first win in the SEC tournament since 2007.
Wow. I know Scott Kushner of the Advocate Times-Picayune was very, very happy his Vols were able to that Alabama was allowing his Vols to win a game last night. You need to look at his Twitter feed for more on that.
And they'll get another crack at Alabama tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit more later in the segment. Ole Miss, the Fighting Ben Mintz, beats UGA 4-0. They eliminate the Georgia Bulldogs. Great outing by Drew McDaniel. Timely hitting by the Ole Miss offense made the difference in this game. This is good for LSU, obviously, because the Bulldogs beat the Tigers and were bolstering their resume in Hoover. So LSU will take that one.
UGA, the Fighting Nick Susses. My guy Nick Suss used to do SEC Country for LSU. Now is covering Ole Miss for the Clarion Ledger.
There you go. Don't know old Sussy too well, but I've seen a couple of his songs, and he does a pretty good job with that.
Don't mention his songs. The fact that I brought him up is already enough. We don't need to mention his
Shout out to Nick Suss. Florida beats Alabama 7-2 in the SEC tournament yesterday. That's also good for LSU, but Alabama, unfortunately, has already won a couple of games in the tournament, including a 3-2 win over Scott Kushner's Tennessee Volunteers. Scott
Kushner not helping out LSU, a tale as old as time.
No, he was on yesterday. Shout out to Scott. Arkansas defeats Vanderbilt. Top-seeded Arkansas advances to the next round of the SEC tournament in Hoover, 6-4 over the Commodores. These two teams can meet again in the tournament. Vanderbilt now drops into the losers bracket and will face 5-seeded Ole Miss in an elimination game tonight, 7:30 on the SEC Network. Arkansas stays alive in the winners bracket. I can't keep thinking back to a couple years ago when Arkansas was one pop fly away from winning the World Series and wasn't able to do it. I feel like they're still recovering from that.
my buddy Jacob Doyle, huge Arkansas fan. I love bringing that up to him.
There you go.
He, oddly enough, you're not going to be surprised by this. He does not love when I bring that up to him.
I would imagine. Moving on to a little bit of football news. LSU football will open the 2021 season in primetime. 3 game times were announced yesterday. Of course, the season opener against UCLA was the first one. It will be at the Rose Bowl. It will be televised on Fox, and it will kick off at 7:30 Central Time, according to the Southeastern Conference. The UCLA game going to be the first matchup in football between these two programs, and it's also the first ever game for LSU inside the Rose Bowl. Fun fact, last time Coach O was coaching in the Rose Bowl, it was his last game at USC, and they lost to UCLA 35-14. So maybe a little bit of a revenge angle for Coach O.
That game is going to be an all-time Jersey matchup game. I'm hoping, LSU is in their whites and UCLA is in their blues. It's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, a lot of good color combinations there. Moving on to week 2. Next game time, LSU will host McNeese for its home opener at 7 o'clock Central. That game will be on the SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus. Last time McNeese came to Tiger Stadium, nasty weather. They say it never rains in Tiger Stadium, but it definitely rained that day. The game got canceled. It was awful. Hopefully this time around is a little better. Obviously, the Cowboys are coached by former LSU assistant Frank Wilson, former head coach of UTSA, and also they feature Cody Orgeron, the son of LSU head coach Ed Orgeron, as their starting QB. This has to be the first time a major college football coach is facing his son as an opposing quarterback.
I'm sure that's not going to be a storyline heading into that game. It does remind me, though, the last time in that McNeese game that you were talking about, I do remember I'm pretty sure the first or second touch of that game was actually Dante Jackson getting an end around, and then he never touched the ball on offense again.
That is exactly what happened. They talked about playing him on offense because he was so fast throughout the offseason, but it just never really came.
He got that end around, and I think a series later, the game was over.
All right, let's speed it up here a little bit to get to some NBA. In week 3, the Tigers will host Central Michigan at 6:30 on the SEC Network. First meeting between the Tigers and the Chippewas in football. Of course, Central Michigan is coached by former Florida head coach Jim McElwain, so hide your kids and hide your Sharks. Moving on to the NBA playoffs, the Bucks defeat the Heat 113-84. Milwaukee now up 3-0 and getting some major revenge on Miami, who eliminated them last year. Lopez, Drew Holiday in this game was a plus 41. You think they like him in Milwaukee?
I think they love him in Milwaukee. They gave him that max contract extension. Drew Holiday has played like the best player in that series.
Man, I imagine you have Eric Bledsoe and you upgrade the Drew Holiday. That's going to make a big difference.
We'll talk a little Eric Bledsoe a little bit later.
Yes, we'll have some extended NBA conversation. The Lakers beat the Suns 109-105. They take a 2-1 lead in that series after the Suns took game 1. Anthony Davis, 34 points, 11 rebounds. LeBron James, 21 points and 9 assists. It's the Lakers' first home playoff win in 8 years, as crazy as that is.
It's crazy because I think it's almost the exact same amount of days as the last New York Knicks win, which was just the other night.
Shout out Jacob Hess. Game 4 Sunday in Los Angeles. This series was fun for like a half in game 1 before CP3 got hurt.
I hate that for him. I really do, man. Like, I just want to see him be healthy at this point in his career going through a playoff run.
7 points on 3 for 8 shooting for CP3 in the loss. Too bad. Denver beats Portland 120-115. The Nuggets go up 2-1 in that series after Portland took game 1. Nikola Jokic did his thing like he normally does, 36 points, but instead of Dame time, when this game was tied with 5 minutes to go, it was Austin Rivers time. Austin Rivers had four 3-pointers, in the final quarter. We didn't even know he was on the Nuggets till Danny pointed it out the other day, but he's starting and he's closing out games for Denver after he was on his couch a month ago.
So he was a guy who he just kind of gets into the starting lineup not too long ago. They can change him out with Paul Millsap if they want to go small, they want to go big. But I remember trying to go to bed last night because I knew I had to make the drive up here this morning, and I kept seeing tweets and texts about Austin Rivers going off, and I was like, you guys are going to make me turn the TV on, and I'm really trying to get to sleep right now. But of course, I watched Austin Rivers because that's what you do at close to midnight when Austin's going off. You got to must-see TV.
Yeah, and before we move on, I just want to stay on Austin Rivers for a second because I think he's had a really interesting journey. And reading this article on ESPN, he talked about teams not wanting to sign him, not having anything to do with his talent or what he brings to the court, but because of his character issues. And we know when he was with the Clippers, he clashed with CP3 a little bit, and with Blake Griffin, maybe Doc was giving him some preferential treatment, but it looks like he's overcoming that reputation.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he had kind of bounced around. He fallen out of the rotation with the New York Knicks, so things weren't going smoothly out there. He was on his couch for 2.5 months just waiting for somebody to call. He gets lucky. I don't want to say gets lucky, but he gets the call from Denver. Right after that, you got to see, when you sign a 10-day contract in the NBA this year, you're really there 6 days before that because you have to test. So he had gotten there before Jamal Murray got hurt, but I think Jamal Murray got hurt like right after he signed the 10-day.
Yeah, around the same time.
So it kind of worked out for him, and now you're seeing the confidence in him right now that he just didn't have early on. I remember there was one game against the Knicks where he had, I think, 25 off the bench, and he was like, that was maybe his 10th or 12th game. He started to say, like, I started to feel like myself again. And I remember that night, and now you kind of see it. He's building up this confidence, and now he's starting playoff games, and closing them out.
Yeah, Jamal Murray going down really hurt that team, but at least as of right now, Austin Rivers filling the void for the Denver Nuggets a little bit.
That's what happens when you have the MVP on your team.
That helps a lot too. On the docket for tonight, 3 playoff games in the association. The Knicks at the Hawks, Game 3 at 6 o'clock. The Brooklyn Nets against the Boston Celtics, 7:30 on ABC. That game will be in Boston as the series shifts for Game 3. And at 8:30, Luka Doncic, best player in the NBA right now, in my opinion, or at least the hottest, or at least the hottest player right now. I'll go with that.
We got some basketball talk next segment. We'll get into that.
There you go. The Mavericks lead 2-0 after 2 games in Los Angeles. They try to take a commanding 3-0 lead against the Clippers tonight in Dallas. That concludes our headlines, brought to you by Barbecue Guys. Coming up next, we'll get to that extended basketball talk with Andrew, reports surrounding Stan Van Gundy. This week, we already mentioned a very important offseason for the Pelicans this summer. We'll get into all of that coming up next. This is Off the Bench, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Go to therelaxationcompany.org, therelaxationcompany.org. What this is, it's a new massage joint out there at Pelican Point in Gonzales. It's a locally owned family business, okay? And when you're talking about Jennifer DeLotte, the owner, she is someone who's been a licensed massage therapist for 18 years. She's been in the game, working for other people, right? Learning her craft, mastering her craft. Now she has a place of her own. It's the culmination of a life's work, and it is awesome, dude. Me and Jake have already got massages there. Trust me, you want to go there. It's the Relaxation Company at Pelican Point. Great location. How does a 90-minute Swedish massage sound? The most relaxing massage there is. 90 minutes, $100. Okay, and when you get there, you can see the list of different types, like aromatherapy, hot stone. Like the list goes on and on. But it is the place to relax. Go to therelaxationcompany.org.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
$29,990 for a new 2021 Ford F-150. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2021 Ford F-150 for just $29,990. And new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare. at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off.
On Thursdays off the bench, LSU Softball gets ready to host their Super Regional, and Coach Beth Torina breaks it down. Plus, the continued fallout for baseball's early exit in Hoover. The latest from LSU football week 1 of the summer. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back. OTB, Mario Jerez filling in for T-Bob Hebert and Jacob Hester alongside Andrew Lopez, Cade Wazan, and Danny Cardenas. Almost forgot your name, Danny. That would have been weird. Here with Andrew, we talked a little bit of NBA last segment during the headlines. We'll talk a little bit more during this segment. Already got some people complaining. Shout out to Proud Dita on Twitter about Baton Rouge caring more about LSU spring practices, baseball, gymnastics, Saints. We're going to talk about all that stuff. I got great news for you, Proud Dita. This show has several segments, and we could talk about several things, but we're going to talk a little bit more Pelicans. However, I'll do you a favor. I'll tie it in real quick to some LSU football, and maybe you can bear with me, Lopez, as I make this comparison that I'm about to make.
I saw this in the notes, and I have been racking my brain about this comparison and been very much looking forward to this. So go ahead.
Okay, so just in terms of hiring a coach, it's always a really hard thing to do, but a lot of times there's, you can use common sense. And when coaches haven't had success for a very long time, it doesn't make that much sense when you hire them, right? So whenever the Pelicans hired Stan Van Gundy, a lot of people were really surprised that, you hired this coach that hasn't had success in a very long time. He coached Detroit a little more recently, but didn't do anything there. And the Pelicans hire him. A lot of people don't like the hire, and the results right now are not really surprising to a lot of people for that very reason. Nobody was trying to hire Stan Van Gundy. Nobody else was after him. This is a lot like Bo Pelini, right? For LSU, nobody was trying to hire Bo Pelini. He had not had success as a coach in a very long time. He was at Nebraska from 2008 to 2014, was at Youngstown State from 2015 to 2020. Nobody was after him. So in both cases, nobody was trying to hire those coaches. Both coaches had success, but it was 10 years ago for both of them. So everybody scratched their heads at the Pelini hire. Results, like I said, not surprising. Really hope the same thing isn't happening with Stan Van.
Yeah, I don't think so. And for one, I don't think it'll be a one-and-done situation like it was.
No.
To start there. But, the problem with Stan Van Gundy in his last stop, you mentioned the Detroit. They didn't really get over 500 that much. Only one trip to the playoffs. I think they got swept in the first round that year. But the problem in Detroit was not Stan Van Gundy, the coach. It was Stan Van Gundy, the executive. There were a couple of missteps in the draft that they made. One, picking Luke Kennard over Donovan Mitchell, and some things you just don't think are gonna. Yeah, basically, that's I think a lot of people's faces. Some of that's just not gonna work. You made some missteps there, but I really do think it was Stan the exec more than Stan the coach. Now what we saw this year was more Stan the coach. Going back to let's go to the start of the season. The way they were going to try to play defense was the way that Milwaukee, Miami, both had a lot of success last year in the bubble, running to the finals.
Protecting the paint and giving up a lot of threes.
Give up a lot of threes.
Did not work for them.
The problem was teams shot a lot better from three this year. Uncontested threes were going in. Contested threes were going in. Maybe that had to do with not having fans in the arenas. You didn't have crowd noise. You had better backdrops, I guess. So guys are shooting it a lot, and it took them almost 3 months to make a change into going into some drop coverage on pick and rolls and not having guys move around as much. The day they did that was the day they had the 24-point comeback against the Boston Celtics. It was the ABC game on a Sunday afternoon.
Probably the best win of the season, if you think about it.
One of, if not the best. From there on, they really started to change. I mean, they ended up as the 23rd defense in the league this year, right? Defensive efficiency. They were really a top 15 defense from pretty much that point on. Definitely past the All-Star break, which was about maybe like 2 or 3 weeks after this.
Yeah, it's not like it was all, and it's really easy to poo-poo on Stan right now, you know, for the reasons I said. And people didn't like the hire. They're losing in his first season. But if we're going to play devil advocate a little bit, when we talk about these blown leads at the end of games, Stan Van took credit for that last week whenever I was cutting sound. He said he could have coached better. But if I'm going to make any kind of argument to defend Stan Van, I think some of those late gate collapses are on the players, right? Like when Nikhil Alexander-Walker bounces the ball off his face, or when Lonzo Ball trips on his shoe, that's not on Stan Van Gundy. And they've had some moments like that.
You could go to Eric Bledsoe in the New York Knicks game where he forgets that to foul Derrick Rose.
Yeah, and I got to cut you off right there because I'm so excited to finally say this on the air and make this complaint. It really bugged me. A few weeks before that happened, Stan Van actually gave Eric Bledsoe props. And he was saying that, he's being really professional. He was in a situation where Milwaukee won all these games and was in the playoffs. And he's doing a really good job just being professional and being engaged. What? He's not paying attention in the huddle. How is he doing a good job?
I will say this. Outside of that, he was very professional in game. Like, all of his teammates loved him. You got to give him credit. I know a lot of Pels fans did not want to see him at the end of the season. When you get to those last 5-6 games, you're thinking, okay, let's just start Nikhil. We don't need to see him. Bledsoe could have sat. He ends up playing 71 games this year. The only game he misses is because of the eye injury, where I still don't know what happened to him. I just knew that his eyes were as puffy as can be going into one of those games. But, he did. The problem was he did take a step back skill level-wise, it looked like. He was asked to do a lot of things that he wasn't used to doing. He's not a shooter. Like that's not what Eric Bledsoe is supposed to do, right? Eric Bledsoe you saw that in the games where BI and Z were out at the end of the year. You saw more of Eric Bledsoe be Eric Bledsoe. Get downhill, get into the paint, get fouls. He just couldn't do that at the start of the year, right? So that was kind of a big thing to me. But when you look back at Stan and you look back at how he kind of set up. I know there was the report this week about, he's not vibing with the players, okay? Stan is used to doing things a certain way, and the COVID protocols and everything screwed that up a little bit. He's used to being able to go to dinners and do all this kind of stuff. And he had to adjust himself to their practice schedule. For instance, Stan is a guy who loves to practice. A couple of guys have kind of even taken some little subtle shots at him this year.
Yeah, JJ Redick took one that was not subtle at all.
Well, JJ took a lot of not subtle shots. Steven Adams took, kind of made a joke about it. BI's made jokes about it. But he had to adjust that. And later in the year, you weren't practicing as much. And I do think that a lot of things got smoothed out in the exit interviews last Monday. But I see the comparison, but I think you're going to see a better version next year, especially assuming David Griffin goes in there and gets the shooting that they were missing, and the defense I think can fix itself. Okay. But the shooting is the main.
You think that? You actually believe they're going to be really significantly better with all those things?
Because I believe they're going to make a lot of changes.
Okay.
I think Griff has this treasure trove of picks, right? And picks and swaps and all these assets. All these assets don't do anything just sitting there. I think now may be the time this summer where you have to start moving on that to put a winner on the floor next year.
Yeah, should be interesting to see. The Pelicans, not a very good season year one under Stan Van Gundy, but like Lopez is saying, with now a true off season, maybe they'll be better in year two. And I've been saying on this show for weeks that just off of maturation alone, the Pelicans are going to be much better next year, especially when you talk about Zion Williamson going into his third season. You follow this team, so you know Chris Paul didn't really break out until his third year. That's the first time his Hornets made the playoffs. AD, I believe his first All-Star season was his third season, and that's the first time that team made the playoffs under Monty Williams. So Zion in his third year next year, I think it'll be something serious. We're going to talk to Hunt Palmer the next segment, but before we do, one more Pelicans question for you, Andrew. How confident or not confident are you that Lonzo Ball is going to be back with the team next year?
To me, it's going to be tough, I think, mostly because of the number that he's going to come in at. I think the Pelicans have a number in mind where they would feel comfortable bringing him back, but if he's going to try to go out and get the most money and somebody's going to throw 20-something million or more at him, I think they'll be fine letting him walk. Now it's also possible that they work some kind of sign and trade out. So because only a few teams have real cap space this year.
Yeah.
So maybe he can, that'll open their route to a lot more teams than just New York or somebody like that.
And just so people understand, for the Pelicans to do that, to do a sign and trade, Lonzo Ball can't sign an offer sheet from another team. So they had to agree ahead of time.
Agree ahead of time. And basically, why you would do that is to get him to a team that doesn't have cap space. So somebody who would be willing to pay him, but they don't have the cap space to do so, so they have to work out some sort of deal, which would open up a wide range of possibilities for him.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great season this year as a shooter. I think he tries to kind of open up the rest of his game, but he doesn't have the ball that much. I feel like he should get a little more opportunity.
Him as a shooter. I really like Lonzo as a player, but if he's it's where he's going to be at that number that kind of makes me kind of scratch my head on whether or not what he's going to do here or not. So going into this, I like what he's doing in the half court. I like how he's completely revamped his shot. He's become a reliable shooter. He's a 40% guy now. You even saw the improvement at the free throw line, which is big for an NBA player to make at that stage of his career. He was a sub 50 guy from the free throw line in his 2 years in LA. Jumped up to 56.5 last year, and then he was close to 80 this year. So big jump. He's a legit shooter now who will have a role in the NBA.
Yeah, I think the jury's still kind of out on him. I feel, and it might not be fair because when you put his last two seasons as a whole, he's played really well. The numbers are good, but I kind of feel that in the big moments, he's wilted a little bit. Last year in the bubble, he did not play well at all. And this year, I think back to that first Golden State game before they won the second in the back-to-back, Lonzo shot 3 for 18 in a game against the Warriors that the Pelicans just had to have.
That was the game he was trying to hide the thumb injury that we didn't know about. So I'll give him a pass on that. And the bubble was just the bubble, but he does his decision making in games sometimes. His late game decision making you're probably concerned about. The injury stuff you're kind of concerned about because Lonzo's a guy who doesn't like to talk about his injuries. He just tries to play through them and then in effect makes them worse. So a lot of things that you still have question marks on, but I do think there's still going to be a really big market for him.
Either way, he's come a really long way, and I'll illustrate that with a story a little bit later on in the show, but we need to move on to some baseball talk, so let's have Hunt Palmer on coming on this next segment. Again, Hunt usually in studio, but he will join us over the phone today. Mario Jerez alongside Andrew Lopez. You're listening to Off the Bench, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to AdvantaClean.com today, AdvantaClean.com. Look, fire, water, mold damage. You already know. You want to call 225-369-5228, 369-5228. First call, okay, because they're open 24/7. So it doesn't matter when the problem is. They can handle it, right? But the best part is you maybe feel like, look, my instincts would have been, I need to call my insurance company first, right? If you do that, though, they're going to funnel you to companies that they have relationships with. Maybe not the company that's got your best interest at heart. At AdvantaClean, they'll come out, they'll fix the issue, they'll document it all, and then they deal with the insurance company for you. So if you just want like one call to solve it all with a trusted business that locals have been using for years now, you want to go to AdvantaClean 369-5228. If you're a business, get a response plan in place. Okay, hurricane season is here. You can set it up to where when disaster strikes, like you can get back immediately, and it's completely free for them to make you a response plan. Go to AdvantaClean.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
Do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
What if you could truly energize your body and mind from the most fundamental level, your cells? Celivate is a revolutionary health-aware approach to energy, focus, and mood enhancement, packing everything you need to optimize your mind and body from the inside out. The unique formula combines top-notch cellular energizers, nootropics, herbal extracts, and powerful antioxidants, all in one sugar-free 12-ounce can. Elevate your cells. Celivate.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service. HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At Front to Back, they got not one, but two NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to Front to Back Boat Service.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become while we keep it.
Hi, this is Charles Hannegriff. Join us for the final edition of Hanging with Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road. We'll take a look back and have a lot of special guests. Join us, won't you, to celebrate from Ruffino's. Hanging with Hanny, noon on Friday, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Rolling on through here on Off the Bench, Mario Jerez filling in for T-Bob Hebert and Jacob Hester. Andrew Lopez doing me a favor. Alongside, Cade Wazan is producing alongside Daniel Cardenas. And we have our first guest of the day on the phone line. Hunt, usually I'm calling you, but today I'm interviewing you. How you doing, man?
Doing very well, Mario. It's good to talk to you this morning.
Good to talk to you as well, man. And it's Hanny Day. I don't know if you were listening to that last promo before we got back into the show here, but obviously Charles Hannegriff doing his last show today. Me and Matthew Musso will take over for him on an interim basis starting next Tuesday. What are some of your favorite memories with old Hanny Man?
Well, look, I talked to him on the show yesterday, and it's been really an honor for me to join him the last couple of years and doing that show the one day a week, and back when I was doing 2 days with he and Jacob. It's because I grew up in Shreveport, and there was no SEC network, and I cared deeply about the baseball team. And to pay attention to the baseball team, you had to listen on the air. That was all you could do was get around the Sony boombox and listen to the game with Lane Mestape on the mound, and that was him and Jim Hawthorne, and that was my first introduction really to Charlie. And in my house, the post-game show is a staple, and now I do the post-game show on the network, and still got 2 hours to go, and I listen to him religiously when I get home. So he's been, part of my daily routine since 2011. I've been thrilled to call him a friend, for the past 5 or 8 years, and it's been a thrill to do the show with him. He's just an icon in that town and an institution on the radio, and so just for me to be able to spend time with and talk sports with and go on the air with somebody that I really grew up listening to, not to make it sound like an old man, because he's not. It's been a real thrill, and I told him that on the show, and so we'll definitely miss him. I'm pumped for y'all to jump in that chair for a little while here and have some fun, and I'm glad that Hanny will still be around during football season for when I get off the air and need a scotch to digest a big win or a tough loss, and he'll be right there breaking it down.
Or a Bud Light. I know you're a fellow Bud Light lover. Yeah, man. Hanny, I wasn't really familiar with him and Jimmy before I got to LSU, but once I did and got familiar with the radio scene, I started listening to them a lot, and it got to the point where every time I would go have lunch at the student union, I would listen to him and Jimmy. They bring really unique insight, and Hanny's going to be missed on the Daily Show for sure. He's not leaving, obviously, all the way. He'll still do post-game and some of that other stuff you were talking about. But Hanny, a legend for sure, the radio game. And speaking of legends, Hunt, did you watch the Skip Bertman documentary? Do you have any thoughts?
I did. I got a chance to watch it. Didn't watch it live. Had to come home and do some gardening work and watch Mayor of Easttown, which is great on HBO, by the way. But I did get a chance to watch it. And look, it was really cool for me to get a look at that, because I think everybody knows how invested I am in that program, every spring. But I didn't really get to deep dive into it until about 2000. I was born in '88. It's not on TV, and as an 8-year-old, up here when they're winning titles, it's tough to pay too much attention in the middle of March when they're not on TV and not, an attention span to get on the radio. So all that stuff in the late 80s and early 90s, I know the stories of going to A&M with Ben McDonald playing left field and winning 2 games against a juggernaut, and I know about, Brett Laxton's unbelievable performance, but to see that transformation of the program and to see the video and see the emotion in the guys' faces when they talk about him was really, really cool. And I think for me, I'm just so indebted to Skip Bertman, and I think so many of us are, because he created something that has become such a big part of my life and so many people's lives. I mean, there are a ton of big-time athletic programs that don't give a rip about baseball. It's football, and then it goes into basketball and March Madness, and then you start counting down to football again. And we're lucky that that's not the world we live in, that he created the most dominant baseball program in the history of the sport for a decade and a half. And now every single fall I'm out there watching practice, which is a crazy thing to do. It says a lot about my social life. And then there's the spring when it's just a blast to dive into what you hope is another championship team. So that was what really, brought it home for me is, yeah, it was great in the late 80s and the 90s were unbelievable. But the fact is that what he created still lives today, and I'm so lucky that it's a huge part of my life for 5 or 6 months every year.
Yeah, and me too, even though I'm not as tuned into baseball as you. Skip Bertman, for anybody that I think lives in Louisiana or has any ties to LSU at all, you know what he's about and what he created, like you mentioned. And if you watch a documentary, they talk about, when he got here, LSU wasn't supposed to play in Omaha. It was, more California teams and stuff like that. So the foundation he laid for baseball continues today, and not only in baseball, but in other sports. So Skip Bertman deserves a lot of credit for sure. Definitely check out that documentary if you get a chance. Talking here with Hunt Palmer, Mario Jerez, and Andrew Lopez on Off the Bench. Talking a little bit about the current coach, Hunt. We talked about Skip Bertman, another championship-winning coach for LSU, Paul Mainieri. And T-Bob has been talking all week about maybe seeing some of the writing on the wall with the future of this coaching staff. Obviously, we're still waiting LSU's NCAA tournament fate, but we got to have this combo for having you on, Hunt. So what do you think of the job they've done this year, and what are your thoughts on Paul Mainieri's future?
Well, every single year, every program reaches the end of the run, whether it's a championship or you don't even make the tournament or a bowl game, as it were, and then the athletic director sits down and evaluates things. Certainly, when you're in Scott Woodward's chair, he's new. All this stuff is new, so he's even more invested in learning everything and making sure that everything has his footprint on it. So I have no doubt that whenever the season comes to an end, whether it's on Monday and they're not selected, or whenever they lose their final game or win the whole thing, he'll have that conversation. What the result of it's going to be, I'm not certain. But there is the job of the LSU baseball coach, in my opinion. This is something that I've said for years, dating back to when Paul Mainieri was 6 straight national seeds, is for me to prove over a 56-game regular season that you are a legitimate contender far more often than you're not. Every once in a while there's going to be a year where it just doesn't click, and that's going to happen anywhere. In this sport with 11.7 scholarships, it can be tough. But far more often than not, over 56 games, you need to prove you're a contender. That's usually a top 8 seed, maybe a 16. And then if you lose over a weekend, I'm not necessarily going to pin that on a coach. it's tough when you go out there and have a brilliant season and Alex Lang, your ace, gives up 4 home runs against Coastal Carolina for the first time in his career. It's tough when you go to Omaha and your All-American Brooks Wallace shortstop, Alex Bregman, kicks the ball and you hit 3 balls to the track and you lose a game against UCLA and you're out 2 days later. That to me is not necessarily an indication of how the coach is handling things. Putting yourself in a position to do that and then allowing the players to go out there and play on a given weekend is my expectation for the baseball coach. And there's no question in the last 3 seasons, and really the last 4, that level has not been reached. And that's very obvious based on the results. So to me, the product has slipped a little bit, and we hope they get a chance to play moving forward next week. That'll be up to the committee. We'll see what happens over the weekend. But there's no question that the product has slipped on the field.
You mentioned the 6 straight, hosting the 6 straight regionals and even the slippage there. But focusing on this team here, with this position they're in, obviously you would have liked to have seen them win more in Hoover, or win anything in Hoover first. What do you think happens on Monday with this team?
It's changing by the day, Andrew. Early on, Alabama winning 2 games certainly hurt. That's the team you're contending with. I think Louisville's loss and Alabama's loss hurt. It helped LSU yesterday because those are teams that are really in contention to be in the field with LSU. They need some of these teams, Fairfield included, Eastern Carolina included, to win their conference tournaments because they're going to get in no matter what. Might as well take the automatic bid. And oddly enough, if you're looking at quad 1 wins, which is a big feather in LSU's cap, that counts the top 50, and Air Force is 51. So we need Air Force to sweep Fresno State this weekend and try to creep into the top 50 in the RPI.
Let's go, servicemen.
Down to things that are that close. So when the power's out of your hands and you can't go win, you got to start scoreboard watching. Right now, LSU's RPI is the highest of the bubble teams. Their strength of schedule is the highest of the bubble teams. Their quad 1 plus quad 2 winning percentage is the highest of all the bubble teams at 18-18, but their conference record stinks, and there's no way around that. And so it just kind of depends on what the selection committee prioritizes, but for now you just got to pay attention and watch. So if you're in purple and gold, you pull against Louisville, you pull against Alabama, you hope Air Force wins 3 games this weekend. You can look at teams like Indiana, Indiana State, UC Santa Barbara. I could go on for 20 minutes, but it's very close. And I think it really is, I think they're going to get in because I weigh quadrant 1 wins above everything. And a lot of teams on the bubble's quadrant 1 performance has been poor. But there's no looking around the fact that you lost the first game in your conference tournament and your conference record's not good. If they weigh that like they did in 2011 against LSU, they'll be on the outside looking in.
I love that we're rooting for Air Force. Love Air Force over here. I actually called a game in Alex Box. That's a real feather in my cap as a play-by-play guy between Air Force and Army. So I got a little affinity for Air Force baseball. Really happy we get to root for them. Hopefully LSU gets some good luck as they scoreboard watch and try to get into the NCAA tournament. That is Hunt Palmer of the LSU Sports Radio Network joining us on the phone today. Thank you for being with us today, Hunt. Go have a couple Bud Lights and enjoy your weekend.
I'm playing golf today, so you can believe it. Y'all have a great holiday weekend. Thanks.
You too, man.
Do the same. Hunt Palmer of the LSU Sports Radio Network. We'll come back for one more segment, talk to Andrew Lopez real quick about kind of his journey to ESPN. It's a really interesting one when you talk about the odyssey of Andrew's journalism career. We'll get into that when we get back. This is Off the Bench, ESPN, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 11:30 The Tiger.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com, All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com. The dealership's so nice, I went there twice. Got that blacked out, murdered out minivan. Love my 2020 Toyota Sienna, even though yesterday they were telling me the 2021s are even crazier, which look, you didn't even tell me that, man. Just committed to this, okay? But look, you can commit to the 2021 and have your mind blown. It's even bigger. It's got even more space. I don't know how they can have more room for activities, but apparently they do. But it's not just minivans, right? I'm leasing the Camry, which I never would have thought at the onset. If you're looking to renting from All-Star Toyota, along with a great selection, is significantly cheaper than renting from like a traditional rental company. Toyota certified used vehicles are banging right now. And look, when it comes to new vehicles, it is hard for a lot of people out there now with the microchip shortage, yada, yada, yada. But the used vehicle market is hopping. And at Toyota, you get a Toyota certified used vehicle, you get warranty coverage, like stuff that you only normally get on brand new car purchases. So go to All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com today.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Yo, Jacob Hester here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Center, the place that can be at your convenience during those inconvenient times. I know they've been that for me. I've got 4 boys, right? So sometimes stitches happen, and they have 6 convenient locations, one close to you to be able to be convenient for you. Remember, you can also check in online. PatientPlusUC.com is the website. That way you skip the line as well. Patient Plus Urgent Care Center, get in and get better.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
A certified pre-owned vehicle means that it's been certified by factory-trained technicians. It meets a stringent criteria of over 155-point inspection. We want to make sure that vehicle is mechanically sound and that we have a warranty to back it up. There's no mileage limitation. You can be assured that you're driving a vehicle, you got a good value, you'll get that special financing, those special incentives on certain models, and some of the other amenities that you get with the certified pre-owned vehicle.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hours return. Kick rocks, ask Ryan. We'll send you into a holiday weekend. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Last segment here in Hour 1, Mario Jerez filling in for T-Bob and Hester alongside Andrew Lopez, who covers the Pelicans for ESPN. And as we have a few minutes here, Andrew, I want to talk to you about that a little bit. You used to be at the Times-Picayune. I remember you covering LSU for multiple publications here in Baton Rouge, but now you're at the mothership. 4 letters. What's it like? What's it been like, man?
Man, it's fun, dude. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of fun. I mean, when you're a kid growing up and you want to be a sports reporter, I mean, most people, you want to get to ESPN, right? You want to be on Sports Center. You want to do all that. And for me, it kind of it happened real quick, man. It happened real quick. I went from not having a job to being able to go to ESPN in about 3 months, and it was a whirlwind of a summer in 2019 when all that kind of went down. And I have an ESPN mic in my bag right now. I have another phone that I can use to go. Like it's still kind of surreal to me that it's all like true, I guess.
You deserve it, man. Obviously, you do a really good job, and I know they pay you really good, obviously. But I'm curious if you get any other like perks. Like, do you get to go to Disney World for free? Do you get free ESPN Plus at least? Like any kind of perks?
I don't get free ESPN.
What?
I think if I asked enough, I can get free ESPN Plus. But I was already paying for it, so I kind of kept it. But I do get to go to Disney for free. That is a perk. I went and used my Disney discount at the Disney store when it was closing in New Orleans not too long ago. That was sure my niece is going to appreciate that. But the biggest perk is being able to turn on ESPN and see yourself.
Have you met?
So weird, dude.
I imagine. I've seen you, and I kind of had that same feeling just watching you. So yeah, I get it. That's kind of cool. Have you gotten to meet any of like the big faces at ESPN, like a Mike Wilbon or Stephen A?
No, because here you got to remember. I started in September 2019. I was literally, I think, covering LSU like a week before that. Covering LSU a week before, and then had to go to ESPN. Yeah, we had to go to Los Angeles to go to what was it? Summit. We had all the NBA reporters. So I met Woj. All right, but I don't see anybody else.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun throughout your travels with ESPN. That'll do it for hour number 1. Mario Jerez and Andrew Lopez keep rolling on for hour number 2. Jeremy Hill is in the building. He will join us next as we talk some NFL, a little bit of LSU football, Joe Burrow back at practice with the Cincinnati Bengals, Julio Jones update. We'll get into all that with Jeremy Hill up next here on Off the Bench.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to Ochsner.org today, Ochsner.org. Look, I've toured all the Ochsner facilities here in Baton Rouge, on the North Shore in New Orleans, and what I can say unequivocally is that they are the best facilities that I have ever seen. The Grove here in Baton Rouge will blow you away. Like, let's say you have a nagging injury, some shoulder, knee, whatever, right? You got to go in and you got to get an MRI. I dare you to not feel like you're on a Marvel movie set when you step into this MRI machine. I mean, it looks like Tony Stark should be walking around talking to Jarvis, making weird little hand motions in the air, controlling everything. That's how advanced it is. I don't say that just because what that is, it's representative of what Ochsner does, which is they invest in their facilities, they invest in their employees, and by extension, they invest in you and your health and getting you right once again. That's why they got urgent cares everywhere. That's why they're handing out vaccinations left and right. If you need any healthcare needs, you want Ochsner, go to Ochsner.org today.
$29,990 for a new 2021 Ford F-150. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2021 Ford F-150 for just $29,990. And new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. and I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jdacody.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Oh, I've had back pain now and then, but it got so bad I couldn't even bend over. I didn't want to resort to pain pills, so I chose Peak, hoping they could relieve the pain. They got me active again. I even lost weight. I believe in better. I chose Peak.
Choose Peak Performance Physical Therapy.
Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers.
A.m. here in the capital city. It's a Friday edition of Off the Bench. Coming up this hour, a full hour with Jeremy Hill and Andrew Lopez, as well as our guest host today, Mario Jerez. But also, a little bit later on, Big Fave, Ben Mintz, Megan making money. We'll get your picks in for the weekend. Lots of show still left. Stick around. This is hour 2 of Off the Bench.
Let we go!
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
Hour 2, let's get it. Mario Jerez filling in for T-Bob Hebert and Jacob Hester alongside Andrew Lopez and Jeremy Hill, who is joining us for the 8 a.m. hour. As Cade Wazan just said, Cade Wazan producing today, and Danny Cardenas getting us on television and on YouTube. Rising media star Jeremy Hill joining us here in hour number 2. You guys have heard him on this show. How you doing today, man? Thanks for coming out.
Man. Glad for having me on again.
I'm just glad you followed the let's all dress in black dress code that we all didn't know about
in unison, bro.
Until this morning.
Where's the NW picture, dude?
Right.
Yeah, we need to get that up at some point in here.
Right.
New World Order, maybe a New World Order in the broadcast game right here with Jeremy.
We should drop a promo.
I'm about it. We gonna
I
make
think I got black spray paint in the car. I don't know how they're gonna feel about me touching up the studio.
Man, we'll get the music. We'll do all that. So Jeremy, obviously a former LSU running back, and we're gonna break the ice a little bit here before we get into some NFL talk. Lots going on in the NFL this week. The fans are going to be back in the game. Julio Jones maybe going to be traded from the Falcons soon. It looks like they're going to be able to at least get one first-round pick for the star wide receiver. And Joe Burrow back at practice for the Cincinnati Bengals, your former team, the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to get into all that. But before we do, I want to reminisce on your career a little bit, Jeremy. And Danny's going to make fun of me because I'm about to talk about myself here. Your freshman year at LSU was the first year that I started doing play-by-play in Spanish. Wow. And my trademark call whenever LSU scores a touchdown is if you ever listen to a soccer broadcast, the broadcasters elongate the scores and they go, goal. Yeah. So my thing is whenever LSU scores, I go, touchdown. And one of the most vivid ones in my head, or one of the most the one where I got the most pumped up in that first season was your run against South Carolina. When I made that call and I was dragging out the touchdown, I could literally feel the ground shaking beneath my feet. Well, what do you remember about that play in that game?
I tell people all the time, when I scored the touchdown, I dropped the ball. Like, my ears were ringing as loud as they've ever rang in my life. I couldn't hear anything. The stadium was just so electric. It was so loud. You could just feel the energy everywhere. Everyone was so pumped and so excited. And the crazy thing about that game, I didn't even start. They threw me in there, and I just started making plays. And then it just led up and built up. And then that fourth quarter, it was like a one-possession game. And then that touchdown kind of busted the game open, and it felt good, man. It just felt so great because those guys were talking so much crap pregame, like getting on the eye of the tiger, disrespecting us. We were like, no, we can't let these dudes come in here and beat us at home. Like, no way.
That game was great, man. And I remember South Carolina had momentum early. They got an interception off of Mettenberger in that game. There's old Jeremy Dosh, one of the first ones. Great times. We know that's a great memory for you at LSU. That some of the offenses you played with were explosive, man. When I think back to 2013, you guys definitely should have won more games. Besides that South Carolina game, what are some of your other favorite happy memories at LSU?
I think the South Carolina game was huge. I think for me, Outback Bowl for me, because we lost Met and we didn't have our quarterback. And so,
Jennings' first start.
Yeah. And so for me, I was like, man, I gotta play well. And I think the first drive of the game, I had that feeling like, oh, this could be a crazy day. Like this could get weird. Like, and I think that's the most I ever had in a game. I think I had like 216, and that was fun, man. Those guys, I think they had like 8 or 7 guys get drafted from their defense to play in the NFL. So they weren't like slouches on the defensive side of the ball. So it was pretty cool to get that off, and that was my last college game, and it's kind of the most vivid one that I remember because. I had so much success, and then we beat a tough team without our quarterback. So that was pretty cool.
I mean, that's a heck of a way to go out.
Yeah.
216 and topping those guys. Let's switch over to your former NFL team. Mm-hmm. They get a Tiger back this week in Joe Burrow. Mm-hmm. What are you hearing about how he's looked so far?
Dude, I think the biggest thing about Joe is his swagger that he brings to a room, and you can just feel that. Guys can smell it. They can feel that aura. And he has so much confidence. You just feel like you can win any football game with Joe back there. And I think those guys are going to rally behind him like none other before. I'm excited to see him back out there. If they can keep him healthy, keep him standing up in that pocket, he's gonna throw some darts. A lot of darts.
We've seen a lot of those at LSU and a lot of those at Jamar Chase, who, as you mentioned, is going to join him. You mentioned, Andrew, he's back at practice this week. And Tyler Boyd had some words at yesterday's practice. Wasn't able to get this soundbite, but listen to how he talks about this QB that's only played, 3 or 4 games? Mm-hmm. Nothing average about Joe. He's going to lead us to the promised land, Boyd said. He looks great. He looks like he's ready to play a game right now. I'm not worried about Joe. He makes magic when his number's called. It's like, how do you stop these guys? I'm pretty sure there are guys already looking across the league and figuring out what we got. In your time there with Cincinnati, you were there a few years. Do you think the Bengals community felt that way about any player?
Yeah, I think they felt that about AJ Green. He got a lot of love in the city. Geno Atkins got a lot of love in the city.
Great player.
But yeah, those probably the only 2 guys that really got that love. I mean, Andy's kind of love-hate type thing, Andy Dalton. Sometimes the fans really love him. Sometimes they kind of have some stuff they shouldn't be saying. So, but definitely AJ and Geno, those guys were studs. So they always got love.
What about Gio?
Yeah, he got a little love. Like it's just different with AJ. Like you make all those Pro Bowls and Geno makes all those Pro Bowls. It's like you see nothing but 18 and 97 jerseys everywhere. So those guys probably got the most love on the team.
Yeah, some great players, and you guys have had some great players throughout your time there, despite the playoff drought. But the Bengals hopefully gonna take a step up as a franchise with Joe Burrow. You saw the update, the upgrade he made at LSU, and I think it's funny when you were on the show earlier this week, Jeremy, and you were talking kind of about the black cloud that Cincinnati has, not being able to break that playoff drought. Not the same. Exactly, not apples and oranges, but LSU, I feel like, had a dark cloud hanging over its head with not being able to get a quality quarterback. And you saw what Joe Burrow was able to do in a really short period of time. It feels like Cincinnati feels like he can have a similar impact over there as a pro.
Yeah, I think so too. I think for me, I think if they couldn't do it this year, but I think next year I go all out on O-line. I try to get as much protection for him like the Chiefs just did this year and keep him upright because I think he can go head-to-head with any quarterback. Like, as crazy as that sounds, I like Joe against anybody right now because he's just his pocket presence at such a young age is so beautiful to watch. He can roll out from free rushers. He can get out, make plays on the run. He can really make every throw. He's great touch. He can put speed on it. I mean, the kid really has no weakness, and he has that swagger, like I said. And other defenses know, like, if this kid starts getting hot, we're in trouble. So,
do you think, like, going back to this one, obviously they had a chance to draft Sewell or or Jamar?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they made the right choice going with Jamar to get him the weapons this year and then go O-line next year?
Yeah, I think so. You can't – those type of receivers, like let's say if they passed up on A.J. Green those years ago, you don't have that number one receiver for the next 8-9 years. Right. And so you got to find someone you don't know if you're going to be in that top 5 again. So it's just tough. When you know you have that true number one receiver right there and you got the quarterback to match, you pair those guys up and you let them dominate as long as they can. And you can always go next year with the O-line, which I think they'll be doing. If not, if the O-line plays well this year, they won't have to. But I think that's probably the direction they should go.
So it sounds like you were cool, despite you saying that they need to address O-line. You were cool with picking Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell.
Yeah, 100% I was cool with that. But just I think another thing, too, is that the rapport he already had with Joe, I think that's very important. And they don't have to, go through all the OTAs and do all that stuff. I mean, they are, but they don't have to. They played years together. So I think that going there, those two high-level players together, I think it'll work.
I was going to say, how much does that help especially in an off season like this where you're not getting the same amount of reps that you're normally getting with guys like that?
Yeah, it's so important. And then, like I said, every year I feel like we did less and less practices, and like guys are trying to get guys healthy for the season, so you don't get those reps and you don't get to get those opportunities. So the fact that they have that rapport from college and then won a national championship together, you don't get that type of rapport. You can't really count too many other combinations in the league where the quarterback and the receiver won a national championship together. The number one receiver. So I think that'll definitely help. That'll definitely help Joe out a lot.
Yeah, and look how much success Justin Jefferson already had, and he was a complimentary receiver on that team. So Jamar might be something serious. We're here with Jeremy Hill, Andrew Lopez, and Mario Jerez in place of T-Bob Hebert and Jacob Hester here on OTB. We'll talk a little more NFL in the next segment, but I want to go back to your LSU days for a second, if we can. We talked about a happy memory, South Carolina 2012. Now I want to bring up a not-so-happy memory, but I just kind of want to get your point of view.
Out he's bringing up the not-so-happy memory.
It's all good, man.
This is all Mario.
The 2013 game against Ole Miss. I was at that game.
Oh, goodness.
And I remember being really excited. I'm going on a road trip. It was my first ever trip to an away SEC stadium.
You see that Danny? He's making it about himself again.
And exactly. I'm the host today, baby.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do, host.
So 2013 Ole Miss game. Like I said, it was my first time being at an away SEC stadium, and I'm pumped because it's Ole Miss. LSU is going to get this one, right? It did not happen. Mettenberger straight up seemed like hungover or something at that game. He was just not himself at all. He was moving around slow. We were watching him the whole time. What do you remember about that game?
I just remember us turning the ball over early a lot. I couldn't really get our run game going, which is like our whole DNA. I think the way Coach Miles built the team, we're not one of those teams, if we go down early, we're going to try to score a bunch of points and, just hurry up and get a lot of points on the board. We're run the ball, play defense, and get out of here with a W. So we got down early, and then I felt like we were chasing it a lot. And that's one of the first times in, like, my whole probably football career, I really felt like the team didn't respect the opponent. Like, we just felt like we're just better than these guys and we're going to beat them. And those guys came out and they really kicked our butt. And I felt that. I'm like, damn, we woke up in the second half and made it a game. But I just remember just not respecting those guys. Like, it's like, excuse my French, OP is what we call them. It's not an old name. So we just didn't respect those dudes, man. And it bit us in the butt.
SEC football, man.
Going back, we'll get a little bit of NFL before we get to this break real quick. We were talking about Julio before we came on.
Yeah.
How weird is it going to be to likely see Julio Jones in a not Atlanta Falcons jersey?
It's going to be crazy, but you see it throughout the NFL. You go back through history, from Joe Montana to Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. You can go on. The greats of the greats somehow find a way not to finish with their teams. It's just the nature of the business. But honestly, I'm really excited. I want him to go to like a top 5 quarterback. Like,
I was gonna say, where do you want him to go?
In a perfect world, I would love to see him and Devontae Adams next to each other.
Ooh.
T-Bob was talking about Julio.
That would make somebody really happy. That would make a guy. He might come back from Hawaii tomorrow if that would happen.
In the same way Brandy Moss made Tom Brady happy in 2007. It could be that kind of thing where at the end of his career he could have one grand stand with a really quality quarterback. And as somebody who's rooted against Julio Jones like the entire time he's been playing football, somehow I still kind of want that for him because you got to understand He played for Alabama first, and obviously did a lot of damage against LSU. And then he goes to Atlanta.
Oh my!
That's like the worst combination. But despite all that, I have so much respect for Julio Jones as a player that I hope for the same outcome for him as well.
Yeah, that's the one thing about Julio. He's such a stand-up guy. You don't ever hear about him in the media with any crap, or you don't ever see him complaining about getting more touches. He's just a perfect guy in the locker room, and he's just an absolute stud. So it's a win-win with Julio, I think. But like I said, I told T-Bob last week, I said either Russell Wilson, him and DK next to each other and lock it in the slot. That could get weird too.
Yeah, Seahawks, I feel like, have maybe more assets to make that happen. But we'll see. It'll be really interesting. Atlanta going to trade Julio Jones. It's looking like. We'll talk about where he might go and what the Falcons might get back for him in the next segment. We'll also get into a little bit more NFL talk with Jeremy Hill, Mario Jerez, alongside Andrew Lopez. You're listening to Off the Bench, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Go to AccuTempBR.com today, AccuTempBR.com. It is Thursday right now. Memorial Day is Monday. What that means is you only have a couple of days left to take advantage of this deal, okay? You want to text home run to 31996 and you get a $49 Tiger tune-up on your AC. It is June, people. Summer is here. It's almost June. Relax. Summer is here, okay? It's going to get really hot. Your AC is going to be working overtime. Don't let it, like, blow up in your face. Like, maybe literally, right? Avoid the catastrophic incidents by getting AccuTemp out there for the Tiger tune-up. If you text home run to 31996, it's only $49. I'm not even going to talk about any of the incredible service, incredible ratings, anything else like that. The bottom line is you need to text home run to 31996. Get that $49 Tiger tune-up, and then you're going to learn why everybody loves AccuTemp so much. Go to AccuTempBR.com today.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045 ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hanging with Hanny. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045 ESPN.
A certified pre-owned vehicle means that it's been certified by factory-trained technicians. It meets a stringent criteria of over 155-point inspection. We want to make sure that vehicle is mechanically sound and that we have a warranty to back it up. There's no mileage limitation. You can be assured that you're driving a vehicle, you got a good value, you'll get that special financing, those special incentives on certain models, and some of the other amenities that you get with the certified pre-owned vehicle.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
$29,990 for a new 2021 Ford F-150. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2021 Ford F-150 for just $29,990. And new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service. HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At front to back, they got not one, but two NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to front to back boat service.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what yours.
Hi, this is Charles Hannegriff. Join us for the final edition of Hanging with Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road. We'll take a look back and have a lot of special guests. Join us, won't you, to celebrate from Ruffino's. Hanging with Hanny, noon on Friday, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back to OTB, hour number 2. Mario Jerez filling in for T-Bob and Hester alongside Andrew Lopez of ESPN and former LSU running back Jeremy Hill. As we're talking some football, the people upset that we weren't talking football and talking basketball in the first hour are happy right now, but then they're going to be upset again next segment when we start talking some hoops with Jeremy, who is a Lakers fan here and knows his basketball. We talked a little hoops earlier this week, but for now, we're going to continue our conversation from the last segment, which was Julio Jones. The Falcons, according to ESPN, have discussed several offers for the star wide receiver, including an offer of at least one future first-round pick. Again, that's according to ESPN. We know what Julio's done in his career. 10 seasons with the Falcons after being the number 6 overall pick in the 2011 draft after a really good career at Alabama. He led the NFL in receiving yards in 2015 and 2018, a 7-time Pro Bowler, named first-team All-Pro back in 2015 and 2016. He's coming off an injury last year. He only played in 9 games, but you look at the numbers, 51 catches for 771 yards and 3 touchdowns. Still nothing to sneeze at. So what do y'all think Julio Jones is worth in terms of trade compensation?
I say a first and a player.
Definitely a good player.
Yeah, I'd say first and a player. That probably get the deal done.
I think it's first. If you're just going based on talent, it's first and a player. It's just that the number is there, and they know they have to get off.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's that future first, whether that's a 22 first or down the line first, or a second that can turn into a first based on production, whatever that is, I just, if they have the first, that may be what they have to take.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's a first and a lower tier guy or something like that, maybe not a starter right away, maybe it's a special teams kind of guy. That may be what they get, but I think because of his number is so high and teams know that they have to get off of him,
Mm-hmm.
It's going to drive that value down just a little bit from what you should get for a player of his caliber.
Yeah, if that's the case, I'd do it, because I was telling you guys over the break, I think this guy can really, really help a team and take them to the next level. I made the comparison to Randy Moss back in 2007 when he joined the Patriots, and this could be a missing piece of a championship puzzle for somebody. That's huge for me. It doesn't look like it's going to be the Tennessee Titans. According to that same report from ESPN, the Titans,
they're trying.
Titans are trying. Yes, they are.
I don't think they're gonna get it done. I don't think so. I think it's gonna be a team no one really has on the radar. That's how normally it works. Like, no one thought Randy was going to the Patriots. Like, no idea, and it's gonna be like, wow, they just picked up Julio. So I feel like it's gonna be something like that.
Jeremy's right. They are trying, and we know A.J. Brown in particular is trying. He actually he made a video yesterday, and before that, he left a voicemail for Julio Jones. And we
know Julio likes to pick up his phone.
Yes, and if we have that sound queued up, here's what A.J. Brown had to say to Julio.
I haven't even been released yet. Okay, I'm gonna sell you on some things right here. Listen to me closely. You have Tenney Hill, Mr. Finger Roll himself, every time. Eric Hill, listen, he does what he needs to be done. Like, he's a leader, he's a great passer. He's it. Anyway, next. Him, behind me, superhuman. We don't even have to discuss him. He speaks for himself. Look how mean he look in the picture. Like, okay. Then me, I'm up and coming. Pro Bowl year 2, not a big deal, kind of a big deal, but not really. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, whatever. You, the GOAT of our era. Of our receivers. Help me, help you. Come home, Julio. Come home.
That's how I kind of talk about myself as a broadcaster, young, up and coming, big deal, kind of not really. But you see the efforts to get Julio Jones from the Tennessee Titans. Too bad it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Not a lot of players can demand that type of Instagram attention. Like
that
Julio's getting the red carpet rolled out for him, but he deserves it.
I mean, when you think about it, you mean somebody of his skill, I'd be dying to have him on my team too, from somebody like AJ Brown. If he does leave, obviously that opens up a couple things in Atlanta. Calvin Ridley likely becomes the number one. But another guy who would benefit from this is your former high school teammate, Russell Gage, who we were talking about in the break.
Mm-hmm.
When you were a senior, he was a freshman. What do you remember about him then? From your high school days?
He was a very quiet kid, super skinny at the time. He kind of grew into himself now. He was super skinny, super quiet kid, but really athletic. And we kind of noticed that early on. We were like, man, this kid really has a lot of potential to do some stuff. And at the time, I was like the number 7 or 8 running back in the country. And we had Leo Collins, who was like the number 1 left tackle in the country. And so we kind of built a team around us two. And we weren't really passing the ball
as one probably should.
So we weren't really passing the ball that much. That wasn't really our game. We just ran the ball as much as we could. But we all saw Russell, like 7-on-7 stuff, he'd be killing it. So we kind of saw the potential in him. And then kind of when I left Redemptorist and went to LSU, I kind of saw his high school career just develop, and he just became so much more athletic. He kind of grew into his man body. And then at LSU, I wasn't shocked at all. I'm like, this kid, if you give him the ball, he can do some stuff with it if it gets in his hands. And I'm excited for him. I think he's going to probably move into that number 2 receiver role, and he's going to get a lot more targets next year. And I think Kyle Pitts is actually going to get more of the attention, so he should really have a lot of one-on-one opportunities to make some plays.
When he was at LSU, obviously Russell Gage, he has the one game his junior year. He bounces around. He plays safety. He switches to corner, plays all around that secondary. And then his junior year, they're like, okay, let's slide you over. Let's go to offense. I thought he was really going to make his mark in the NFL being a 10 to 12 year special teams guy. Like he was that kind of special. I remember he was as the gunner. He was running down, like he was always making tackle. You're like, he was always around the play. For you, how nice was it to see, even in that senior year with the limited amount of receptions he was able to get, for him to now be able to have this success in the NFL?
Oh, it's amazing because he worked so hard. Like I said, he wasn't what he is now. He's gained so much weight. He put the work in, man. I'm proud of him because he worked so hard to get to where he's at, and then to be on the team with Julio and Calvin Ridley and still make plays and do the things that he did last season. It's super cool, man, and I'm so proud of him.
Was he playing receiver when he was a freshman?
He was an athlete. Like everyone knew he was super athletic and he was an athlete. So we do exactly what LSU did, move him around. He played corner, safety, receiver.
Do you ever go at him in practice?
Come on, man. That'd be picking on kids. I tried to. I didn't really go too hard on our young guys, man. I was trying to just hell bent on trying to win a state championship, and I kind of took it easy on those guys. But Russell, he was definitely had so much potential, and you're seeing that now.
Picking on kids, I'm gonna start saying that. While we're talking about your old teammates and the old philosophy of the LSU team, obviously that was kind of their downfall of not diversifying enough. But there was a time that LSU was gonna be run heavy. Everybody knew it, and they were still gonna run it right down your throat. And I have a lot of affinity for, quite frankly, for your group of running backs, the guys that played around that era. You have Michael Ford, Spencer Ware, Kenny Hilliard. Do you still keep in touch with any of those guys?
Oh yeah, I still talk to all those guys all the time, and I tell people all the time, every guy that was in my running back room played in NFL in some capacity, which is crazy when you think about it. It's like Alfred Blue played, Spencer played, Mike played, I played, even Terrence McGee played a little bit. So all those guys got some NFL action, and that's what I was competing with on a day-to-day basis. So it just raises your level of intensity. You have to be a lot more locked in, a lot more focused. And it just builds a brotherhood within everyone in that room because we all are competing our butts off to play and make plays. So I'm glad that, I got to be a part of the room with those guys, and they definitely helped my career so much because they pushed me.
That's awesome. And Hester talks about the same thing on this show, about how they're not really, competing against each other in a bad way, even though they all play the same position. It's a brotherhood. Yeah. And you guys were definitely that. What do you think of the current running backs at LSU? Do you think TDP and Emery have kind of lived up to your expectations so far? Not really. Do you expect them to break out this year?
See, that's the thing. Like, if you go through like the runners we've had since Ridley, you got Ridley, me, you got guys, you got Fournette, even Brissett. Like, you got 1,000-yard rushers after season. So that's a tradition we kind of built. And I think, with the offense that they changed to, it's kind of hard to get those kind of 1,000-yard rushers, especially when you're splitting carries. But I think both of those kids are so capable of just having a crazy breakout season because they're so talented. One's super fast, one's really athletic and big and make people miss. So I'm excited for them, but I think there's a little more meat on that bone for them to get out there, especially to take pressure off whoever's going to start at quarterback next year.
Yeah. Switching over, let's talk about back to the NFL for a second. Obviously you played in Tiger Stadium with 100,000 people, and you know the kind of effect that can have. NFL teams this year, I think 30 right now are approved for full capacity, getting back. Last year was weird. Let's just say it what it is. I went to a couple of those Saints games with like 3,000 people.
Calling the games was so weird.
Yeah,
it was. I never want to do that again.
Well, from your perspective, from a player's perspective, how much of a difference does that make on a Sunday when it's all professionals to have, a full stadium cheering for you compared to what it was last year?
Yeah, I think it makes a world of a difference for both sides because I got so much pleasure of scoring road touchdowns and hearing the crowd so quiet. Like, I got so much pleasure out of that. And it goes vice versa as well. Like, when you're the home team and you get a big first down or you make a big play, it just gets everyone so riled up and you can feel the momentum. Like, momentum is such a real thing in sports, and especially in Death Valley. Like, you get a big sack on third down and the crowd erupts. Like, the offense, like, okay, we got to go score now. Like, it's just that feeling you have of momentum, and it's so important. And like I said, it goes both ways. Like, even when you're on the road, you make plays on the road. It's like, okay, now they're quiet. Let's keep them quiet. So it goes both ways.
Louder sound in Tiger Stadium that night against South Carolina. Your breakaway run to seal the game, the touchdown, or Sam Montgomery's third down sack against Shaw to seal the game?
The sack. It was louder on
Dude,
the sack. I couldn't hear a thing.
I remember the crescendo building up to the sack because usually, the crowds go loud, 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 and the play starts, and eventually it dies down. But in this instance, up, 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 and then it went to the next gear.
Yeah, Sam sack, and then he did like the big stomps after, and I was like, dude, this is insane right now. And then I think Coach Miles said after the game, he was like, this is where opponents' dreams come to die at Death Valley. And that's like one of the more memorable quotes I remember from him, and it's such a real thing. It's like when you get in there and it's third down and we're coming, Chiefs gonna send that blitz off the edge somewhere. Good luck.
Oh, man, good times. Very happy memories for a freshman in college, Jeremy Hill, starting for the first time at LSU, and for a senior in high school, Mario, calling games in Tiger Stadium. As I continue,
still wild to me that you're calling games as a high school senior.
As I continue to talk about myself, Danny. We'll talk to somebody.
Can we get a counter on that, Danny? Can we get a counter on how many times Mario has talked about himself today? Got it.
And we got a Citizens Bank poll that we'll discuss a little later on, and we'll talk to somebody else who has Ole Miss knowledge and somebody else who was at that 2013 LSU Ole Miss game, Ben Mintz of Barstool Sports, who had a really good night last night. We'll talk about why when we have Ben on next segment. You're listening to Off the Bench, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com, All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com. The dealership's so nice. I went there twice. Got that blacked out, murdered out minivan. Love my 2020 Toyota Sienna, even though yesterday they were telling me the 2021s are even crazier, which like, look, you didn't even tell me that, man. Just committed to this, okay? But look, you can commit to the 2021 and have your mind blown. It's even bigger. It's got even more space. I don't know how they can have more room for activities, but apparently they do. But it's not just minivans, right? I'm leasing the Camry, which I never would have thought at the onset. If you're looking to renting from All-Star Toyota, along with a great selection, is significantly cheaper than renting from like a traditional rental company. Toyota certified used vehicles are banging right now. And look, when it comes to new vehicles, it is hard for a lot of people out there now with the microchip shortage, yada, yada, yada. But the used vehicle market is hopping. And at Toyota, you get a Toyota certified used vehicle, you get warranty coverage, like stuff that you only normally get on brand new car purchases. So go to All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com today.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, We've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Yo, Jacob Hester here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Center, the place that can be at your convenience during those inconvenient times. I know they've been that for me. I've got 4 boys, right? So sometimes stitches happen, and they have 6 convenient locations, one close to you to be able to be convenient for you. Remember, you can also check in online. PatientPlusUC.com is the website. That way you skip the line as well. Patient Plus Urgent Care Center, get in and get better.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a national...
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hours return. Kick rocks, ask Ryan. We'll send you into a holiday weekend. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Mario Jerez filling in for T-Bob Hebert and Jacob Hester. You like that, Danny? Alongside Andrew Lopez and Jeremy Hill. We're waiting to get in touch with Ben Mintz of Barstool Sports, but before we do, a very important question for Jeremy in the chat. Jeremy, do you think birds are real? And why is the answer no?
Oh, Philo, because birds are drones made by the government, man.
Okay, he laughed after he said it, but a lot of people would not laugh.
I was gonna say there's gonna be a lot of people who take that clip and are gonna just start touting that Jeremy Hill doesn't believe in birds.
Headline.
I mean, that's how the internet works, right? But hey, it'll be funny to laugh at later.
If T-Bob was here, he'd be giving us a dissertation on why that's true and why they actually are drones.
Let me ask you about that. What is the weirdest thing that's ever been that you remember about, like something you said that got misconstrued? Whether it was like a post-game interview or something like that.
Dude, I remember after we played Cleveland my rookie year, they beat our butts. It was like 24-3. And some dude asked me a question. I just answered him straight up. He was like, so how good were the Browns tonight? I was like, dude, they're not even as good as we thought. And they took that little bit out and they put it everywhere. And then the Cleveland Browns fan, they raided my Twitter. It was like the most insane stuff. Like, dude, we just kick y'all's butt 24-3. How could you say that? We're better than y'all. And then I was like, okay. Next game we go to Cleveland. Johnny Manziel starting at quarterback. LeBron's there. It's like this whole big environment. Crush them 30-0. I had like 140 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns.
I'm assuming your mentions were a little bit quieter after that.
Oh, super quiet. I just tweeted like right after the game. I just tweeted the little big eye emojis, and I put like 20 of them. I was just like this, like.
Oh
where
man,
y'all at?
it's gonna be cool having you on. It's gonna be cool having you on, Jeremy, and getting to tell all these NFL stories.
Yeah.
Hopefully, some of the Pat Van Jones stories can make
Oh,
air.
dude.
We'll see.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of those.
But we got a guest on the line right now. We're gonna spend a few minutes talking to Barstool Ben Mintz, who had a good night last night. Mintzy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, wild night last night. One of the wildest weeks I've had at Barstool so far, to be honest. And, that's saying something, but big win. We won me and my teammates Jolie and Riley Fox won the inaugural Dozen Trivia Championship, and but it's a huge deal at Barstool, and yeah, very, very excited. It feels good, winning championship. It's been a minute for me.
I bet it felt good in 2013, Mintzy, when Ole Miss beat LSU at home. I was at that game. I know you were at that game too. We just talked about it with Jeremy. I remember you telling a story on Jimmy's show about that particular game and that particular night. What do you remember about that matchup?
What? Oh, the 13 game? Well,
Yes.
I mean, I remember a lot of things about it. Mainly, Zach Mettenberger kind of melted down in that first half and threw all those interceptions. LSU almost came back at the end. If you're referring to the crazy celebration story?
Yes.
Oh, that was 2009.
Oh, okay, my bad. It was when y'all beat LSU.
Yeah.
Also.
Also. Well, I mean, you act like that happens often.
Exactly.
It hadn't happened since 2015. So I guess you got to remember all the good memories. But yeah, I mean, you talking about the party in the Grove after?
Yes.
Oh man, I think we may leave that one off the
Okay. All right. I didn't know. That's why I was kind of.
We'll leave those with the Pac-Man stories that we'll sing.
Something about a tailgate and a chandelier and a fire, but maybe one day.
Sounds like a podcast story to me.
Mintzy, we've talked about staying with the Ole Miss relevance here. We've talked about Arch Manning some this week. Do you think there's any chance at all he considers LSU?
I'm sure he'll consider it. I don't know about. I'd be surprised if he went there, but I think there's they're keeping that whole thing so quiet. I mean, even my top Ole Miss sources, I mean, nobody knows nothing. I mean, they're really, really being careful about it. I think he'll consider LSU. Honestly, who knows what's going to happen on that front? But you can use your imagination with my business situation and my Ole Miss fandom. You certainly know where I stand on the deal.
Hey Ben, it's Andrew from ESPN. I'm glad to be able to talk to you, and I've enjoyed the rise that you've had here in the last year or so. Kind of going back, I just got one real question. How does it feel to be Lane Kiffin's best friend?
Well, I've talked to him for 3 minutes total in my life after the 2 times I've met him, so I think that might be getting the anointing oil out a little quick. He was super cool in the last video, but he's aloof. You see why he likes Twitter so much is he doesn't have to actually talk to people, I think. So he just could be such a monster there. But he was super cool to me in that last video. But having said all that, I've met him twice and talked to him for 3 minutes. So.
I'm still gonna call him your best friend. I'm just gonna make that. I'm gonna make that a thing.
That's fair.
Yeah, Mintzy, before we let you go, because we're gonna talk some NBA with Lopez and Jeremy next segment. How excited are you for fans back in NFL stadiums? 30 out of 32 teams get permission, and the Superdome and other stadiums will be back at their usual forms.
Man, I can't even do it. We're seeing it right now in the NBA playoffs, like at Madison Square Garden, and we saw it in Kiel and Bill won golf. People have been pent up. I think people appreciate crowds and the energy a lot more than they did before COVID. I think it's going to be one of the wildest falls ever, possibly. And also, I want to make sure I mention one more thing before I get off the air. I'm emceeing and hosting Hearts for the Cause in New Orleans on Friday night, Saturday next week, June 4th and 5th. They still have 2 GA Fest available. World-class barbecue and music fest. 75 barbecue teams from around the United States. Awesome band lineup. It's going to be the return. Speaking of comebacks in New Orleans, it's going to be kind of the first big party since COVID. And raises money for families fighting pediatric brain cancer. It's a phenomenal cause. T-Vibe's going to be out there. Got a couple Barstool people coming. It's going to be a huge thing Friday and Saturday. So if you still don't have plans for next weekend, get your 2-day passes, or just Friday night chicken wings and bacon contest, Saturday barbecue. And come join us in Hearts of the Cause and NOLA. Help raise money for a worthy cause.
Can confirm it is really, really, really good barbecue.
I've heard a lot of good things. Barstool Ben Mintz, living a charmed life as usual. Go check him out this weekend at his event. Mintzy, thanks so much for joining us, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Barstool Ben Mintz. He actually changed his Twitter handle to Bayou Ben Mintz. So that's Bayou Ben Mintz of Barstool Sports. Next segment, we are going to talk a little bit of NBA with Lakers fan Jeremy Hill, big Pelicans fan, obviously, Mario Drez, and somebody who covers basketball professionally, Andrew Lopez. Very much looking forward to that conversation. Coming up next here on Off the Bench, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Go to DonaldSoulGlassandBody.com, DonaldSoulGlassandBody.com. Oh, there she is. Riv's in the house. Look, if you have any car needs, you want to extend the life of your vehicle, you want Donald Soul Glass and Body or DGBauto.com. I've been going there for years. I absolutely love them, man. And it can be for anything. It can be like an oil change, tires, wheels, brakes. How about this? So you break down. Let's say you break down at work, you break down at home. Happened to me in a Chick-fil-A line. DG&B will come out. They will pick up your vehicle in their brand new 2020 tow truck. They'll tow it back to DG Donaldsonville. They'll fix it, and then they'll drop it back off to you. The towing is completely free. And remember, if you get in an accident, the insurance company cannot tell you where to go. The police cannot tell you who gets a tow. The answer to both is Donald Soul Glass and Body. Why? Because they are the best body shop in the state. I'll put that on anything. Also, what I love about them, if it's not an insurance job, you can trust them in terms of evaluating your car. They're not trying to cheat you. Go to DonaldSoulGlassandBody.com today.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the JimsFirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the JimsFirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
What if you could truly energize your body and mind from the most fundamental level? Your cells. Celivate is a revolutionary health-aware approach to energy, focus, and mood enhancement, packing everything you need to optimize your mind and body from the inside out. The unique formula combines top-notch cellular energizers, nootropics, herbal extracts, and powerful antioxidants, all in one sugar-free 12-ounce can. Elevate your cells. Celivate.
Have you been arrested for DUI or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown at 225-343-1111 or connect with us online at ocbrown.com.
$29,990 for a new 2021 Ford F-150. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2021 Ford F-150 for just $29,990. And new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite.
Hi, this is Charles Hannegriff. Join us for the final edition of Hanging with Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road. We'll take a look back and have a lot of special guests. Join us, won't you, to celebrate from Ruffino's. Hanging with Hanny, noon on Friday, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back to Off the Bench. Mario Jerez alongside Andrew Lopez, former LSU and NFL running back Jeremy Hill. One more segment here in hour number 2, and we're going to talk a little bit of NBA. Jeremy is a supporter of the LA Lakers. They lost Game 1 against the Phoenix Suns. That series was fun for like a half before Chris Paul got hurt. Yeah. Now the Lakers back up 2-1. Anthony Davis playing really well after a putrid Game 1. How you feeling about your squad, man?
I feel great. I feel like we went through the same thing last season. We lost the first game. Everyone's having a heart attack. But when you got 2 top 5 players in the NBA, your chances of winning on a night-to-night basis is extremely well. And I think the addition of Drummond, I think, helps a lot, takes a lot of pressure off AD. He doesn't have to bang as much. And great pick-and-roll buddy with LeBron, and they can just run that all game. I think they come out the West. I definitely think so.
Are you looking forward to really any game before the finals with the Brooklyn Nets? Because they have a very clear path right now. We were talking about it yesterday. Utah's dead. Donovan Mitchell hates the team ever since last year. He got into it with Rudy Gobert. Jamal Murray got replaced by Austin Rivers, and that's working so far, but I feel like at some point that's not going to work anymore. So are the Lakers just already in the finals in your eyes?
Yeah, I think only way is like if Luka just plays out of his mind.
That would take a lot.
That's the only way I could
Which is very plausible.
40 a night triple-doubles, which is very capable because he has so many shooters around him. And I think he could give them trouble because they're gonna hit more threes than the Lakers. That's what I'm scared about because they hit 35 threes in 2 games. So
yeah, because you don't have to worry about the Clippers, I think, at this point.
No, I think only way if Clippers have to win this game. Otherwise, they have to.
It's been a weird playoff series, I think, and I'll tell you what, man. I think Mario and I were talking about this before. I feel so bad for Chris Paul. I feel like I just want when he has a chance on this team. He had a chance with Houston. I mean, if he's healthy against the Warriors, they don't probably that ends that little finals run that the Warriors had probably. He gets hurt in this series. You know, I'm not going to say who did that or who. You know, what grown man ran into him, but he.
We talked about it already. Don't we?
I feel bad for him, man. I really do. I would love to see him, just be healthy for a playoff run, and obviously it kind of sucks. This feels like it should be a conference finals.
I agree. They got a really bad draw with having to play the Lakers as a 7 seed.
Yeah, this feels like which going back to a couple of weeks ago that the play-in works, right? Mm-hmm. Because it was able to give. A team like Washington a chance to get better. It gave a safety net for a team like the Lakers who were dealing with injuries in a COVID year. LeBron obviously with the ankle injury, AD with the Achilles, and I think we talked about this earlier this week when I was on with T-Bob. I was worried about AD because his shooting numbers going into Game 2, his three-point percentage was in like the 25-27% range. We saw him make that jump as a three-point shooter. He just you were worried about where his foot was, where his Achilles was, his heel, and it's glad to see him start to get back. But like to Mario's point, him getting back and LeBron getting close to 100, it's not good for the rest of the NBA. When Andre Drummond is when they're having fun on the sideline like they were having last night, doing the mic, doing the lean back, going in, hitting that ridiculous reverse layup. Like when LeBron's having fun,
you're in trouble.
Yeah,
you're in trouble, man.
Good for them. They haven't had fun in that building in 8 years. We talked about that's their first home.
2,932 days according to Jeannie Buss.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah.
She knows. So the Lakers, unfortunately, look like they have a clear path to the title. Speaking of unfortunate topics, it was a rough week for player-fan interaction in the NBA this week. We all saw the clip. Danny played it earlier this week of the fan throwing popcorn on top of Russell Westbrook, and also Trae Young getting into it with some fans at Madison Square Garden. Also, Ja Morant's father coming out last night and saying a couple things about the Utah Jazz fans. I feel bad for Utah fans, man, because they have, a lot of, incidents and isolated incidents, but I feel like they get a bad rap for a few idiots. But regardless, have you ever seen anything like that in the NFL when you were playing?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, there's certain crowds, if you go in there, go in the crowd, they're going to pour stuff on you. It's just what it is. And it's like they feel like they get a free pass to do what they want because you're at your job. And if you do something to them, then it's going to become a big deal. So people just have that entitlement, and I think it's insane because in no other aspect of life can you get away with doing those kind of things and not, have some consequences going your way. So, yeah, it's definitely everywhere. I think I just saw the clip of Jefferson from the Seahawks when he was walking out the Jacksonville Stadium. He was trying to go into the stand. So it's something that these stadiums need to do a little better job of making sure they keep the fans under control because there could be another Malice in the Palace, God forbid, but that's where it's headed. And
let me ask you that, Lopez, because I want your insight on that. Do you think this is, like I said, just a few idiots and it's no big deal, or do you see Commissioner Silver and the NBA actually implementing something or doing something about this?
I was on the call, the Zooms with the Atlanta Hawks yesterday after it came out that the fan was banned, the one who spit on Trae Young, and John Collins, the forward for the Atlanta Hawks, he's like, I'll be honest, man, I don't know what we can do. It's a few idiots who want to, they're gonna do what they're gonna do, but I do think they ban the bans in the full arena ban. It's not okay. Hey man, you can't come to Knicks games anymore. Mm-hmm. It's you can't go to anything ever in Madison Square Garden again. You can't go to anything ever in the Wells Fargo Center.
The Donald Sterling tree.
Yeah, like you're just done. Yeah. So I think that it helps. Another one of Trae Young's teammates, Kevin Huerter, kind of to Jeremy's point just now, he mentioned he's like, you take away the security, you take away my uniform, and you just come up to me on the street. You ain't gonna spit on me on the street. I don't see any fan just doing that to a Kevin Huerter or Trae Young or John anybody like that. You're not going up and spitting on Jeremy Hill on the street. You're not going up and doing that to any NBA player. So, but you think you have this sort of safety because you're at this NBA game. Just don't work like that, man.
Yeah, parents just need to do better. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think, too, you say parents, but it's like adults. It's like, I've seen, it's all older
adults,
men. Yeah. Like, it's like men who are supposed to act like men, but they feel like they're entitled and they can just assault someone for the sake of it. And you hear that story about the Uber driver that got spit on and died from COVID. It's like, that's dangerous in this climate we're in. Like, can't spit on somebody, man.
Yeah, can't have that. Hopefully people start acting better at NBA games and at sporting events in general. That'll do it for hour number 2. We'll have Marlin favorites on to open hour number 3. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming by, man. We will see you soon. This is Off the Bench, ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Restore me, refuel me, rejuve me. RejuveMedical.com. Thought about doing a Hamlet thing. Kind of lost steam there. Probably because I need to go to Rejuve Me, right? You'll never lose steam if you go to Rejuve Me and help them help you with the aging process. They understand it better than anyone. And look, don't think if you're listening, you're like in your 20s, you're in your 30s. It's not about your age. It's about how you're feeling. If you don't feel like you're at your best, Rejuve Me can help you get there. Maybe it's HRT, hormone replacement therapy. Maybe it's not. It's not a one-size-fits-all plan. You go into Rejuve Me, and look, they got locations in Denham and Metairie and Baton Rouge. You go into Rejuve Me Medical, they draw your labs, and that's the information that they use to create a pathway for you. So, like, you want to roll out of bed in the morning with that spring in your step. You want to roll into bed at night with that spring in your step. Rejuve Me can help you get there. Restore Me, refuel me. Go to Rejuve Me Medical.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, Trolling Motors. At Front to Back, they got not one, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to Front to Back Boat Service.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Nine a.m. in the capital city here. This is a Friday edition of Off the Bench. Mario Jerez and Andrew Lopez hosting today. If you missed anything, you can always find it on demand. Hunt Palmer in Hour 1. Jeremy Hill just stopped by for a full hour. Coming up, Ben Mintz as well, by the way. Coming up this hour, Megan making money, but we'll kick off the hour with Big Faith, Marlon Favorite, all here on the OTB OT hour of Off the Bench. It starts right now.
Let me go! All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah!
Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob.
Hey, P, they said I got to come off the bench.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. Yo.
Hour number 3, let's get it. OTB OT. Mario Jerez filling in for T-Bob Hebert and Jacob Hester. Andrew Lopez.
I thought we just made a change. I thought we just had breaking news.
We did, and I've ruined that. And to clarify what Andrew just said,
Already.
Danny is very surprised that I pronounced my name with the hard J, Jerez, instead of the Latin pronunciation.
I am also very surprised.
Which is her, and there's no real reason for it. I've just always said my name Jerez, but I've had a couple of people share Danny's opinion, which has made me consider some things, and I think I'm going to start doing the head it is from now on.
I think I blame Brother Martin. I think I'm going to blame Brother Martin.
Man, the Spanish teachers at Brother Martin been having a tough time. Do we have breaking news?
You just mentioned breaking news about the name pronunciation, so I figured we'd make it official.
Okay, yeah, I like it. Yeah.
So let's start over. Let's go back into let's re-get into the segment.
Okay.
And you now have to do it the right way.
Hour number 3, let's get it. Mario Jerez is such a habit, man. We could ask Big Fave what he thinks, man. Joining us right now on the phone.
We'll get it.
Former LSU national champion at LSU, former Super Bowl champion with the New Orleans Saints, the pride of Gretna, Louisiana. Marlon, Big Favorite, Big Fave. We've been friends for a while, man. I've always introduced myself as Mario Jerez. Do you think I should start saying Jerez?
I think Jerez flows better, man. You know what I'm saying? You want to go with something that's going to flow good off the tongue, man. How y'all boys making out this morning?
Doing good. I just want to point out, it seems like every time I co-host a radio show, Big Fave is a guest on that radio show already. He did it when I hosted for Gus. Now we're doing it right now. So I think we're starting out pretty good, man.
There you go. Big Fave, how are you, man? How's the rap career going? I heard you got some new tracks out.
Man, it's going pretty good. So basically, the project that I'm working on is From Ball into Broadcasting. Incidentally speaking, what we're doing right now. And the first song off it is Gorilla. They can check Gorilla out, streaming on all platforms, Tidal, Apple Music. Think y'all like it, man. It jammed pretty good. It really tells the story of inside the trenches.
It's a good story. You've had quite a journey, Big Fave.
Man, thanks, brother.
I think I know what I'm listening to when I head back to New Orleans right now.
West Bank Gorilla. I like it. We got it. And you've done it for a while. You've done it for a while. This dude is open for Lil Boozy and artists like that. Big Fave. A tenured rapper, also a tenured football player, our resident kind of D-line expert here. And that's good because I have several D-line related inquiries, Big Fave. And first with the Saints, we haven't talked to you since the draft. What did you think of the Peyton Turner pick, which was a big surprise for many people?
It was a huge surprise to me. I thought that we would have maybe went with the kid Christian from Alabama. What's it? B-More. I think I said his name right. Sorry, Christian, if I butchered it, but he's now the Patriot.
Barrymore, yeah.
I thought seeing him available, he could have did some things for us inside. And I felt like this is – when I saw that they drafted a DN, I automatically went to two thoughts. Either A, time may be up with Cam soon, or B, they just don't have enough trust in Marcus Davenport. But then the third confusing piece to the pick was why go get another developmental project in Peyton Turner. I thought that he's a kid that has all the upsides that you look for in a DN. He's tall, long, rangy, but we just didn't get a chance to see him against the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Clemsons. You know, he only played against, his hardest game might have been against Tulane. So we actually trained one of Tulane's players, a guy named Adonis Furlow. I actually have him this weekend. And he was telling me he don't think that guy is better than Cam Sample, who was drafted in the 4th or 5th round to Cincinnati. So that automatically, guys, go to my mind as like Peyton Turner would have been around. But, hey, Mickey Loomis, Jeff Ireland, and Sean Payton know what they're doing. So I guess we'll just have to see.
It reminded me a little bit of the Ryan Ramczyk pick for that same reason, Big Fave. So many people were upset. Zach Strief was still on the offensive line, and look what Ryan Ramczyk's doing. He's about to get a bag for his next contract. Could you elaborate a little bit on a thought you had, which was Cam Jordan and maybe the Saints don't look at him in the same light? How much do you think Cam Jordan, the all-time leader in sacks for the New Orleans franchise, has left in the tank at this point in his career?
I think Cam has a lot. I think Cam can go another contract or two just for the simple for the simple fact of his size and his age. Cam should be right at about 32 years old. So, he could probably play another, if he takes care of his body the right way, anywhere between another 5 to 7 years. So it all depends on that, guys, ultimately. And you bring up Ryan Ramczyk, which I wasn't super mad about that pick like I was about the Peyton Turner one. But one thing about Ryan Ramczyk, he at least played against top Power 5 talent, right? We know that he was coming from the Big Ten, Wisconsin, so he's able to, he played against all those schools that have high-tier athletes, so the transition to the NFL is a little better. Not saying that smaller school guys can't do it, because, again, my boy, Pierre Gonson, he was a 6th-round draft pick to the Indianapolis Colts, and he did a phenomenal job there, and he came from a D3. So some guys are an exception, but we'll just have to see. Now, as far as Cam Jordan goes, I think that, he wanted – you could see it after. I saw him and Talib had an interview after on Bleacher Report, and you could see the frustration in his face. and his response, like, I thought we would have got someone, on the interior to help us on the inside, or at least go get a lockdown corner or a receiver to go on that receiving core, losing Emmanuel Sanders last year. But they went with Peyton Turner. And to me, I felt like Peyton would have been there for second or third round, if you ask me.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned receiver. Let's go to that side of the ball real quick. Obviously, Michael Thomas had a rough year, mostly because of injuries last year. What do you expect from him? Being able to come back and have a fully healthy Mike Thomas going into camp.
Well, I think the biggest thing with Mike was his all season. The type of training he was doing to get his body back to full strength. I didn't forget about the year he had before, the offensive MVP year. I mean, I thought he did an exceptional job of being able to utilize the playbook to his advantage. A lot of plays went his way. A lot of those yards he got from Teddy Bridgewater and Teddy Bridgewater's accuracy. This year we had similar situations, but, Mike got hurt. We had to go with Taysom Hill. And then when Drew came back, we just kind of tiptoed along. So I think that Michael Thomas is going to get back to can't guard Mike this year because, again, the Saints are going into this thing with somewhat of a quarterback battle, but at least Jameis has been there under Drew Brees' tutelage for a year. Taysom Hill, he understands his package, right? He's not your typical NFL quarterback, but he understands and can do multiple positions. So I think that has a lot of value in it as well.
Marlon Big Fave Favorite is our guest of the LSU Sports Radio Network, former LSU and NFL defensive tackle. Thinks I should say my last name, Jerez, disagreeing with Lopez and Danny, who think I should say Jerez. Big Fave, before we let you go, I want to talk a little bit of LSU. And again, staying with the defensive line, we heard Mason Smith's name a lot for a few weeks here during the spring. It's kind of died down a little bit, but obviously he has really high expectations as a freshman. How much of an impact do you think Smith will make right off the bat for Coach O and LSU?
I think Smith is someone that can come in and definitely provide rotation in the interior lines. You look at where LSU is up front. I had a chance to work with Nick Farrell and Jaquelin Roy over the years. But you have a guy that's big and can take up blocks. And I think the more Mason Smith develops and understands what it is to be a college player, the tempo, the speed, improving his technique, because that's one thing, guys, I remember coming out of high school. I was quick, I was fast, and I actually had decent technique, but it was so much left to learn. So much I learned from Kyle Williams, Claude Roden, Marcus Spears, Melvin Oliver. I can go down a list of the D linemen that had a lot of influence on not only me, but Glenn Dorsey, Tyson Jackson, Charles Alexander, Ricky Jean Francois, just going down the list, Tremaine Johnson, guys that by the time we were redshirt sophomores, we already understood the culture. We already understood what to bring to the games, to practice. And I think more and more that Mason Smith develops as a collegiate player, we're going to see an amazing, potentially all SEC player someday at LSU.
Hopefully. And you mentioned the defensive line being a strength of the team, and you listed off so many legends right there. Do you think LSU is kind of getting back to that? I feel like getting these guys like Jaquelin Roy, LSU was losing to other schools, mainly Alabama in the past, but they've really stepped up recruiting specifically there. So coming into 2021, a few years under Coach O as a head coach, obviously a defensive line coach, where would you rank the defensive line for LSU amongst the strengths of the team coming in this year? Because we know cornerback is always going to be in that conversation, but where would you put defensive line as far as LSU's strengths heading into 2021?
I would probably put them somewhere above the offensive line slightly, but somewhere in between the DBs. Just for the experience on the line, you have Andre Anthony coming back right out of Edna Call. West Bank, baby, West Bank, where you at? Hello, somebody. He's shown maturity. He led the team last year in sacks. I want to say he had 5 sacks last year. Nick Farrell, he provides that. Me and Nick spoke about a week ago, and he was just talking about how focused he is going into this 5th year. Both of those guys are going into their 5th year. So I would probably rank the D-line somewhere around the 3rd, maybe 4th strength of the team, which is good. I mean, the fact that – and I'm really basing that heavy off of Jaquelin Roy and Ali Gay, just because those two guys, I think Jaquelin has as the season progressed last year, I started to see more of a developing D tackle, a guy moving quicker. He lost a lot of weight. He's looking up to speed in terms of where he is. And Gage, we didn't get a chance to see him in the spring game, but just judging off how his season ended and just the amount of work that he was putting in, here this spring, I think that's going to be the catalyst. Should I use a better word for that offense? That defense for the Tigers.
Man, I don't know. I'm really pumped about the D-line this year, Big Fave. I thought Jaquelin Roy, Ojolari, and some of these other guys really came up towards the end of last year, and I'm really pumped. I think I look at them as a little bit more strength of the team than you do, but regardless, they've gotten a lot better, and we should celebrate that. Marlon Favorite is our guest here. First segment of hour number 3. Before we let you go, Big Fave, we are about to do a tier list coming up next segment of the best trash talkers in NBA history. Now, when you think of trash talkers, whether it be in the NBA or other sports, whether it's somebody you grew up watching or somebody you competed against as a football player, who do you think of?
Well, the first person I think of in NBA, I think of like Charles Barkley. He did a lot of trash talking back in the day, but in college and in NFL, I would think of a few trash talkers because they were out there. I mean, most recent trash talk I see is more of a silent one, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. He's talking trash because he's forcing guys to want to fight him, teammates. So he's getting in guys' heads for sure. But as far as trash talking, man, just about every offensive line I went against, the Ponte twins from they talk a lot of trash, so on and so forth. So I guess some guys try to get in your head, and hopefully that works for them. But it just never really worked for me, Mario, because I guess I was already a guy in my head. So I would just play the quiet game for a second, and then I'll start talking trash, after maybe, 4 or 5 tackles for loss.
Man, I can imagine playing against the Pounce. I could imagine playing against the Pouncey twins, man. Those guys look like they talk a lot. Marlon Favorite, friend of the program, pride of Gretna, Louisiana, joining the show, as he usually does when Andrew Lopez is co-hosting. Big Fave, thanks so much, man. We will talk to you soon.
Drew, Mario, appreciate y'all guys, man. Y'all make sure y'all check out Inside the Trenches podcast, wherever they're streaming. Podcast, whether you check those out, and go get Gorilla, baby. Big dog.
That's my listening on the way home, baby.
Yes.
Man, thank you, man. Y'all gonna enjoy it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. First thing, there he goes. Marlon Favorite, Big Fave, joining us here on Off the Bench. Coming up next, as previously mentioned, we are going to do a tier list of best NBA trash talkers. I'm pumped for that.
I'm very excited to make a lot of people mad on Twitter.
Oh, man. Yeah, we're going to get some vitriol as we do every week. We will do that tier list when we get back. You're listening to Off the Bench, ESPN, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexander.
OTB, OT.
CentralPlumbing.org, my man. You go to Central Plumbing, 925-8552, centralplumbing.org for all of your plumbing needs. They've been at it since 77, y'all. Quick math, beep, 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 beep. That's 44 years. My God, man. How do you last for 44 years? How do you grow over time, bigger and bigger and bigger over 44 years? It's because your customers trust you, and they are consistently satisfied. I've probably had Central Plumbing out to my home 6 or 7 times through the years. And so I am of that number. I love the flat rate pricing. I love the fact that the job gets done immediately. I love the fact that I don't lift a finger. And I love the fact that they can handle jobs very simple or very complex. Like you could have an old house with character, like a hipster house, like Rivs, maybe a new cookie cutter, like me. And if anything breaks out, it doesn't matter. They've seen it all. They can fix it all. Go to centralplumbing.org today.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans. That's why we're highlighting the fans that do the most. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out at 1045ESPN.com, the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
$29,990 for a new 2021 Ford F-150. Bayou Ford wants to put you in a brand new 2021 Ford F-150 for just $29,990. And new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Riot Radio Hours return. Kick rocks, ask Ryan. We'll send you into a holiday weekend. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Time for some science here on Off the Bench. Mario Jerez, Andrew Lopez, Cade Wazan, and Danny Cardenas all here with you for a few more segments. As I mentioned, it's time for some science and time for this week's tier list. We are going NBA trash talkers, and there's a lot of good ones in NBA history, a lot of good ones from this era that we've been able to watch. So what we usually do is we go around the room and put one option up there as our S tier, which is our elite tier, obviously. So we'll go this way, and I'll go first since I am the host. I'm going to go.
What's your name again?
Mario Jerez.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
Do we get a new host?
I think so. It happened sometime in the last 10 minutes.
Yes, sir. Just for this hour. That's why it's OTBOT, baby. So I'm going to go first. S-tier trash talkers, and 3 words to sum up my first choice. Honey Nut Cheerios. KG. One of the best trash talkers of all time. Everybody knows his reputation, whether it's players or fans. Just a really intimidating dude and a guy that's backed up his trash talk throughout his career. So give me KG on the S-tier.
I'm pretty sure if you want to hear the Honey Nut Cheerios story, you have to Google it. We cannot tell it on air. I'm going to go with one Michael Jeffrey Jordan, who is just the fierce competitiveness, and will also let you know. But I also want to give a shout out to Scottie Pippen for one of the greatest trash talk lines of all time when he told Karl Malone on the free throw line the mailman doesn't deliver on Sundays, and Karl Malone missed 2 free throws.
All time. Speaking of missing free throws, you saw us talking about the greatest moment, or one of the greatest moments in Pelicans franchise history. I just kind of want to get your memories from that, because that was so cool, man. Eva Longoria, Tony Parker, going through a very messy divorce, and this guy at the Hornets games brings a life-size...
Yeah, like a big cutout. This was the 2008, that was the first round?
Yes.
Oh, no, that was the
second round.
That was the semifinals.
Western
Conference. Yeah,
Finals.
they ended up losing in 7. And I remember it was a sea of gold T-shirts. It was the I'm In T-shirts. and then you see this guy just have a life-size cutout of there we go in the honeybees. I mean, that's just all time messing with your mind, man.
But the thing that makes it cool is Tony Parker's a great free throw shooter. He's at least like 80-85% of that time. He missed both free throws that trip. That got in his head. It worked.
It's very rare that something like this actually works on NBA players. So, good job to that guy.
One of the great moments in franchise history. Back to our science.
It's sad that that's one of the great moments.
Yep. Well, come on, Zion.
All right. Back to the list.
Got KG, got Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Cade Wazan, who's in your S tier.
I'm going to throw a little controversy into this. And so...
wouldn't be a tier list without
controversy
in the tier list?
It could be
No
controversy.
way.
I'm not 100% sure it's controversy. But, so my fanship crossed over from a little bit of the 80s into the 90s. And I didn't see a whole lot of this individual's play because they were probably more on the back end of their career, but I could appreciate how good they were. And every documentary I see tells me how much of a sneaky good trash talker Larry Bird was.
Oh, it's not sneaky. He was my second choice.
Okay.
If I didn't say Michael Jeffrey Jordan, I was saying Larry Bird. No one walks into a locker room in a 3-point contest and can say who's finishing second besides Larry Bird. Like, that just doesn't happen.
I also saw a story yesterday about Michael Jordan practicing with the college All-Stars at the time when Larry Bird was on the USA Olympic team, and Michael Jordan was going to the other end of the court to pick up a loose basketball. Larry Bird picks it up, looks at Michael, and punts it over his head to the other side of the court.
Larry was he is elite. So no, that is not controversy. That is a very, very good choice.
Yeah. Now we respect our NBA elders, Cade. Larry Bird definitely in the S tier.
I just called you old, Cade.
That's fine. It's fine.
I'm in agreement with that.
I appreciate that, Mr. Jerez.
Thank you. I appreciate you nailing the name. Danny.
The name that he just decided to change 20 minutes ago.
Right.
Daniel Cardenas.
All right.
S tier.
Y'all nailed like the S tier. Like, my person's probably not going to stay there. I got Draymond Green. Like every time Pelicans go up against him, he drives me crazy. You see him trash talk when he has like a good layup or something. But yeah, Draymond Green's my pick.
I agree with that pick. Here's the thing about this list. I feel like there's so many elite level guys that somebody is going to not be in the S tier, and I'm going to flip. Like, I'm going to not be a happy camper, and I'm going to trash talk our own tier list.
It's funny because these guys have like transcendent moments as trash talkers. I just told the Larry Bird story. A lot of people know the Michael Jordan and Muggsy Bogues story. I'm not sure what year that was, but back in the 90s, maybe you have a better recollection of that story. I know Muggsy was lining up a big shot. He was wide open. Michael Jordan called him a midget. He missed that shot. And Muggsy Bogues, in interviews since that game, has said that moment kind of messed up his mentals and messed up his career.
Yeah.
So Michael Jordan, for that reason alone, has to be S tier.
I mean, Mike is up there. It's KG. KG's an all-timer. I mean, we haven't even mentioned like the Gary Paytons, the Reggie Millers of the world, like Ron Artest. These are guys who I really like the Draymond pick. A sneaky one right now, and Draymond kind of mentioned this the other day. Not necessarily S tier, but a guy who is gaining a little bit of footing as his trash talk grows is Trae Young. I mean, if you can tell the entire Madison Square Garden that it's quiet as blank in here now after you hit a game-winning floater and you shut up 15,000 fans, that's a good one. We didn't mention Kobe Bryant.
Correct, yeah.
We didn't mention Kobe. I mean,
Rasheed Wallace.
We didn't mention Charles Barkley. We didn't mention Rasheed Wallace. Charles Barkley, who Fave brought up in the segment before. I mean, this is going to be a list that we're going to make a lot of people mad.
Yeah, and a guy that's not going to be on this list, but I'll give him props, is David West. When he played for the Hornets,
David West just loves screaming and one. I'll tell you this: David West would get in your face. David West is going to get in your face. We were talking about when he gave Dirk the little cheek tap.
Yeah, maybe Danny can pull that up on the screen, but he's talking about.
He gave Dirk the cheek tap. He put his finger you don't mess. He was just one of those guys you don't mess with. If there was a don't mess with list, I would have loved to have. I think Ron Artest would have been up there. James Johnson and his black belts would be up there. I think Pels fans got to see a little bit of a taste of that this season. That was a fun one.
Yeah, man, that David West moment I remember so vividly. I can't imagine a current NBA player putting his finger on somebody else's cheek.
There we go. There we go. The little cheek tap. And
man,
that's nothing. Then I remember that series so vivid. Like I remember the Dirk's a flopper chants.
Same for Manu Ginobili the next round.
We just recycled that.
Oh, that's another thing I forgot to mention yesterday. They were making fun of Trae Young for his balding or his bald spots, and they used to get on Manu for that back in the day.
It was so funny that they handed out the Trae is balding chants when I get you probably shouldn't be saying the other chant, but it's so much easier. It rolls off the tongue.
No, yeah,
so
exactly. Rivers, who's in the chat, Rivers was talking about it sounds like they're saying Trae is balling. So a more efficient chant.
That's not what the paper said, Rivers. It was very clear.
A more efficient chant would have just been baldy. I think that would have messed with them a little more.
I think there was. I'm pretty sure they did it right when he got spit on. I think he was on that baseline and he turns to somebody. He laughs at the camera. Like a guy has a camera in his face and he's laughing at the camera. So, Reggie Miller. We haven't mentioned Reggie Miller, who is one of the GOATs. I'll tell you, we're going to make a lot of people mad here.
I'll say one of the keys about that, especially with Reggie, was
Reggie and Spike, man.
The whole thing with Spike, and just it's not just what's on the court, the fans, and then just this back and forth with the high level fans sitting courtside, and then for Draymond, I think if it gets to a level where it gets under your skin as a fan, like I could watch Kobe, I'm neutral in it. I don't necessarily have maybe a rooting interest in the game, but I know that he's a great trash talker. If my team is playing Draymond or my team is playing, defensive back, why am I blanking on it? Richard Sherman. I would hate Richard Sherman. Sherman came to the Saints. I love him, but I hated him because of the way he delivered on what he talked about.
And here's another thing about the trash talkers list. If you're going to be an elite trash talker, you have to back it up. And I think that's what all these guys do. I mean, if Reggie can sit there and go back and forth with Spike in the Garden and then hit game winners, okay, that's why I think Trae Young is going to be he's going to grow and be an elite type guy down the road. If you can talk it and then back it up, yeah, you're pretty good.
I hope so, because maybe I'm wrong, maybe you disagree, which is fine, but I feel like you don't see that as much these days in the NBA, even compared to like 10 years ago.
No, not as much. I mean, guys some of that's AAU culture of. I'm not saying AAU culture is bad, but you just know more guys now. You're changing teams more often, so I think because of that, it just kind of changes the whole dynamic.
Reggie Miller has a whole 30 for 30 about him being a trash talker. I didn't know that.
Reggie is it's the Reggie and Spike are just ridiculous. I mean, now people see him and it's like, oh, like TNT commentator, it's this, but like. There's a whole the Reggie versus the Knicks thing, and it's just about him.
And Spike. The Knicks are finally getting some retribution for that. All these years later.
Do you guys think some of it's going down because we've seen LeBron and some others, Spike bring up more of a friendship? We talked about the guys on the boat in the off season hanging out, and there's a lot of friendship to that. Whereas before, yes, there was probably an appreciation between say Michael and Larry. But on the court, it was never that.
And you got guys who are changing teams so much now. You have guys who just know each other off the court better, and I think that's kind of the big thing is you just don't. It's just harder to, I think, just hate somebody.
That's why.
That's why I think we bring up Draymond. Draymond's been on the same team for all these years. He's got wins over almost everybody. He's a pest on the floor, so yeah, it's going to make sense for him.
That's why I love guys like Dylan Brooks. I brought that up earlier this week. 31 points, big win for the Grizzlies in that last playoff game. And I remember a year ago or close to a year ago when Andre Iguodala was traded to the Grizzlies, he didn't want to play there. He wanted to facilitate another trade.
Yep.
And Brooks came out and said, hey, man, okay, go ahead, but we're going to whoop your butt when you go to another team. And I like seeing mentality like that because I agree with Kate. Things seems a little too buddy-buddy in the NBA these days.
That's how it is, but as long as we're starting to see that intensity kind of, as long as it's like this in the playoffs, I think we're fine.
The playoffs have been awesome. I like it much better than the bubble. We will finish our tier list in a little bit. We got our S tier up and ready to go. When we get back, we will have our final guest of the day, and that is Megan making money from FanDuel. Should be a lot of fun. OTB, Mario Jerez alongside Andrew Lopez here on ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB, OT.
GEAUXroof.com. What does that spell? If you're from here, you know it spells go roof, right? And they spell it colloquially because they're members of the community, okay? And they, because of that, they want the community to thrive. They want everybody's roofs to be taken care of. They want you to thrive. That's why they offer things like a free professional estimate when you call up. And they show up there. That didn't cost you anything. They let you know exactly where you stand. Then you make a fully informed decision about what to do next. You call 927-8300. When they answer the phone, you hit them with a roof side. And what you'll get is a beautiful new roof every single time. Also, because they care about the community, they stand by their work. A 2-year workmanship guarantee on top of the manufacturer warranty. So, look, if your insurance coverage is great. If not, they can work with you to find payment options that works for everybody. Go to GEAUXroof.com, 927-8300, GoRoof.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Yo, Jacob Hester here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Center, the place that can be at your convenience during those inconvenient times. I know they've been that for me. I've got 4 boys, right? So sometimes stitches happen. And they have 6 convenient locations, 1 close to you to be able to be convenient for you. Remember, you can also check in online. PatientPlusUC.com is the website. That way you skip the line as well. Patient Plus Urgent Care Center. Get in and get better.
A certified pre-owned vehicle means that it's been certified by factory-trained technicians. It meets a stringent criteria of over 155-point inspection. We want to make sure that vehicle is mechanically sound and that we have a warranty to back it up. There's no mileage limitation. You can be assured that you're driving a vehicle, you got a good value, you'll get that special financing, those special incentives on certain models, and some of the other amenities that you get with a certified pre-owned vehicle.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Can you feel it? Spring is almost here, and if you got a new boat for Christmas or you just want to take your boat to a new level, you want front-to-back boat service, HD displays, live sonar that show the fish before you cast, trolling motors. At front to back, they got not 1, but 2 NMEA certified techs for all of your marine electronic needs. How does a brand new speaker system sound? Well, guess what? They do that too. So call 225-928-9644 or go to front to back boat service.
Have you been issued a ticket for texting, speeding, or other traffic violations? Have you made a mistake? We all have. You're not a bad person. Call the law office.
Hi, this is Charles Hannegriff. Join us for the final edition of Hangin' with Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road. We'll take a look back and have a lot of special guests. Join us, won't you, to celebrate from Ruffino's. Hangin' with Hanny, noon on Friday, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Hester and T-Bob. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria, and 1130 The Tiger.
Welcome back. Mario Jerez alongside Andrew Lopez, Daniel Cardenas, and Cade Wazan on the ones and twos. A couple more segments to go, let's talk to our final guest, who is FanDuel's Megan Making Money. Megan, you may know me as the guy that used to call you whenever you came on Jimmy's show at nighttime. I also met you, I believe, at the Christmas party at Jolie Pearl. That was a good time. But today I'm interviewing you. So how you doing, Megan?
I am absolutely wonderful. It's great to speak with you again. The Christmas party was a great time. Don't you think so?
Yeah, it was awesome. Everybody was there. Hanny was there, T-Bob, you, your husband. Anytime with Jimmy it's usually a good time, though. So
yeah, I can attest to that. I'll say Jimmy is definitely a fun dude.
we love Jimmy over here, and we love Hanny too. It's Hanny Day. Hanny's doing his last show today at Rufino's. You should totally go if you have time today, Megan. But that being said, we brought you on here to talk about the action on deck this weekend. So that being said, what are you betting on this weekend?
So I have 3 bets out today, which is I'm really betting MLB. I know there's a lot going on with NBA right now and things of that nature, but I don't bet well with NBA, so I'm just tend to stick to my baseball. So one trend that I really absolutely love to bet in baseball is the starting pitcher making his MLB debut, and today we have 2 of them. The first being the Reds. The Reds have Vlad Gutierrez going, and I got this at FanDuel at plus 150, so definitely some great value there. The Cubs have been playing hot, but I trust the kid to shut them down today. Plus, the Reds have hit Alzolay in the past, so they should be able to scrape a few runs off Alzolay in the Cubs bullpen and get Gutierrez his first major league win. So that's my first little bit of action today. With my MLB pitcher making his debut. The second being the Indians' first 5 plus half a run. So I know that there's some people that don't gamble that are probably listening, but, sports gambling is coming, and it's coming fast, so I'll explain. So the first 5 is we're just betting the first 5 innings. That way it completely takes out the bullpen from the game. In this scenario, we were taking the Indians plus the half a run, meaning for us, the bet wins if the Indians are either tied or better after 5 innings. And I love it because if it's 2-2 after 5, we win. The rookie we're backing in this spot, his name is Eli Morgan, and he's going against a very dangerous Ryu for the Blue Jays. Ryu has been an absolute stud this season. But look, we're getting the Indians at such a favorable price, and as a dog again, I'm not turning my back on this debut trend. I absolutely love it. The Indians have been hitting much better as of late, and I really expect Morgan to have some run support and at least cover the half a run plus the half a run first 5. Then my last one is the Astros, but I'm actually going to that game today, so I feel like if you're going to a game, you got to have a little action on it. So unfortunately, I would love to join Hanny over at Rufino's, get some great food, and just hang with Hanny because he's really just the sweetest guy ever. But I will be over in H-Town cheering on my Houston Astros, Valdez and Lamet. It's going to be a great matchup. I'll also be there tomorrow as well, which I'm extremely excited about.
Always fun to be able to take in live sports nowadays and get back to the way things were. Yesterday, Megan, a weird situation in Oakland where Shohei was supposed to start. Ohtani was supposed to start for the Angels, but gets caught in traffic. And
does that describe California, though?
Yeah. So but the fact that that's a situation where I'm assuming probably this year, Shohei's probably bringing in a lot of money whenever the Angels are playing, especially when he does make the occasional start. Obviously, we see pitchers get scratched all the time. But have you ever seen a situation where it's because of something weird like this, where he's just going to come back and pitch the next night?
No, I haven't, and I had Ohtani first 5 yesterday. So as soon as I saw that he was scratched, I was like obviously worried that he was hurt or something was wrong with him, because I noticed that his elbow the game before wasn't his 3 miles an hour came off of his pitch. So, I was kind of worried that it might have been an injury, but then I saw traffic, and I was like, what the hell? Could they not just send a chopper real quick and, have some guy come down, pick up Ohtani, and then someone else drop down to drive his car wherever it needs to be, or have a driver at least? I don't know. I feel like they could have – there's some things that they could have done there. I've seen movies. we could have figured something out.
The fact that he actually had to take public transit at one point to try and get to the game on time doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense in 2021.
He's a humble guy, I guess. I mean, is he the best guy ever? I don't really know. He seems like he can do it all. He takes public transit, hits home runs, throws 96-mile-per-hour fastballs, just can do it all.
Miss making money. Have you ever missed something important because of a traffic jam like that?
There's been a couple of times that I've been late for work due to traffic, but I wouldn't say that I've actually ran late on anything because of it. As far as important. I mean, I've had 2 children, but of course I've gotten there in time for that. So I feel like
those are probably important to be there on time.
Yeah, those two were pretty important. And I was actually at my wedding an hour before everybody else, just sitting in the car. I like to be on time. I'm very much. It's kind of my pet peeve to be late. So I like to show up when I'm supposed to. But look, Ohtani, I know it wasn't his fault. It was traffic. So.
Megan, I'm really kind of interested in the careers that people like you and all these people have that has to do with sports gambling and sports gaming. And I always just have some random thoughts and some random questions that I want to take advantage of me hosting and ask you right now. What was the biggest adrenaline rush that you've ever got from any kind of gambling, whether it be sports or otherwise?
I would probably say horses. Horses is, I did not know anything about horses pre-COVID, and as soon as we had the layoff of sports, I had to figure out something because my account on Twitter was new, and I was getting all of these new follows for all these people wanting sports bets, and we didn't have any other sports. And so I was like, well, I guess I got to figure something out. So I learned how to handicap horses. And when I tell you that it is the closest thing to a full-on adrenaline rush, jumping out of a plane, I really feel like it's true. You have a 45 to 60 seconds, maybe even less, depending on how long the track is, of watching your horse either completely die or rev up from behind. And it's just incredible to watch. I love horses and haven't won too much money here lately, but I was getting pretty good there for a while.
Man, Megan making money of FanDuel, joining the show as she does every Friday. Any other thoughts in terms of any action or anything at all as we head into the weekend before we let you go, Megan?
Not necessarily. I'll probably bet on the Astros again tomorrow, just as I said, because I'll be there. I'll be at Hogs for the Cause next weekend just to see everybody, eat some good barbecue, raise money for the kids. Yeah, that's about it. I'm just kind of hanging out, and if y'all want to keep up with any more bets that I might have throughout the weekend, y'all can go ahead and follow me. I know both of y'all do, but whoever I'm speaking with, as far as listeners, Megan Making Money on Twitter. And yeah, all odds at FanDuel.
And I finally got that follow back from you this morning, so I appreciate that, Megan.
Absolutely,
Megan.
I'm excited.
I was gonna say don't add the G to the making, like the mistake that I was trying to do this morning when I was trying to go back and see what your bets were for today. So.
Oh no, it's you can't. I was actually going to put the G, and I'm glad it didn't fit. I only had, I think, 15 caricatures to put in there, and so the G was not good.
It looks a lot better.
A lot of name talk here on Off the Bench this morning. Megan, thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Y'all too. Hopefully I'll speak to y'all again.
Thank you.
Hopefully, Megan Making Money now following me on Twitter. Next up,
Danny, I think that's a making it about him, Danny. We need
you know it. Add it to the counter, baby.
Yeah, that's a counter.
One segment to go. Cade's a beast. One more segment to go here on Off the Bench. Ask the Bench coming up next, so get your questions in the YouTube chat. This is OTB on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB, OT. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing.
I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
50 years ago on Easter Sunday, Breck's Baton Rouge Zoo proudly opened our doors, and we've been hopping ever since. 5 decades of connecting people with animals, teaching our community about the problems facing wildlife and how we can help, and working with zoos across the world to protect endangered species. Today, our future is taking flight by stretching the possibilities of what your zoo can become, while we keep it fun and affordable for everyone. Thanks for coming along.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Friday's AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. The Right Radio Hours return. Kick rocks, ask Ryan. We'll send you into a holiday weekend. Join us 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
OTB OT with Hester and T-Bob on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and 94.7 ESPN Alexandria.
We have made it to the final segment here on Off the Bench. Mario Jerez filling in for T-Bob Abear and Jacob Hester. Hope y'all are enjoying y'all's vacation, by the way. I know that T-Bob is in Alabama, apparently seeing signs of the process. And Hester, I imagine, is drinking hand somewhere, also having a good time. So
there you go.
That being said, it is time for Ask the Bench, brought to you by Cold Coors Light. I believe we have a bad music. First one, Ask the Bench. As Cade does his production responsibilities, is there a better utility infield in all of radio than Cade? Cade's the OG producer. He's started here as our producer, I believe, and has worked his way all the way up to PD. So Cade definitely really, really good on the ones and twos.
I have enjoyed it. It's been very, very nice today.
And he's a funny dude. We'll have Cade show his personality a little bit more when I host in the future. Ask the Bench. Hashtag Ask the Bench. what do you think will happen first in the next few years? Georgia winning the national title in football, or Texas A&M winning the SEC championship?
I'm gonna go Texas A&M getting lucky one year. You just got to do it against, you roll through the SEC. It's a lot harder. Also, I have a couple of friends who are Georgia fans who I just don't want to give them that satisfaction.
Yeah, that's a good point. Both of them are kind of one slang.
I don't really know many Aggies.
My stepdad went there. But,
there you go.
I don't know. That's a tough one, man, because both of them, you kind of had to slay the Crimson Emperor at the end.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you have a shot. But I think I'm going to go Georgia winning the national championship. I also don't want that to happen, but I also don't want to live in the world where Texas A&M wins the SEC West. Hashtag Ask the Bench. What are your Memorial Weekend plans, Andrew Lopez?
I have to watch a lot of NBA basketball. That's my Memorial Weekend plans. I have to do a lot of that.
Cade, who has the music back up and ready, you have any Memorial Day weekend plans?
There is a continued project at our house. Just getting some things fixed up. Just had some vinyl siding put on, and there's some projects in the yard. So that on top of maybe watching a little Champions League final.
Oh, that's right. That's this weekend, too.
Hanging out with wife and daughter. Being a little lazy, I guess.
I just want to talk about the favorite barbecue food.
Go ahead.
I just want to talk about how much I miss smoking Aces.
Oh, man.
That was my favorite. Oh, my.
Danny.
So sad.
Danny, ¿qué haces esta fin de semana? Hashtag Ask the Bench.
I'll be in New Orleans out with family, enjoying some barbecue probably.
Nookie says, hashtag Ask the Bench. Do you have logos and branding yet for Mario and the Moose, the show that starts on Tuesday? We'll get right back to you on that, old Nookie. Shout out to Nookie. Hashtag Ask the Bench. Does Mario pronounce the J in Don Juan's? If so, we need to revoke his Latino card.
I would hope not. That would have been a bad one.
Oh, man. Waiting for some more questions here. Hashtag Ask the Bench. Does Lopez have razors hidden in his hat?
I cannot confirm or deny that.
So we got about a minute.
I do have to take it off when I go to the airport.
Looking for some more questions here. Favorite?
I'm just stuck on barbecue now. This is gonna be.
Well, Dakota was just in here, so
naturally
think of that.
Help.
As we got a minute left, hashtag Ask the Bench. What is your favorite Haney moment? I'll recap one real quick. Less than a year ago, I was downstairs with Lloyd, who no longer works here, and we were covering a commitment from a really high-rated recruit out of South Carolina, Jordan Birch. And as these recruits do a lot of the time, they were stalling, and it got to the point where Haney got frustrated, and he was like, I am a grown-ass man. I am not doing this anymore. And that was just really funny. So that's probably my favorite Haney moment. Do you have one, Cade?
There's a lot of things to reflect on. We'll be doing the show at noon today, but I just think his overall passion for LSU comes out, and you can really relate to him when you're listening to the post game. You can really kind of find some kind of catharticness, when there's a loss or a big win. You feel like he's one of you,
Yeah, Haney is a legend of the radio game. Go check him out today at Ruffino's. And that will do it for us today. Andrew, thank you so much for coming out, man.
No problem, sir.
T-Bob and Hester will both be back on Tuesday. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, everybody. This is Off the Bench.
OTB, OT.